The story starts with our boy getting cornered on the bed by two stunning sisters-in-law, making him beg them to back off. One of them gives him a sharp look and a stern warning. "Don't call us sister anymore. From now on, you call us wife." The other one chimed in with a seductive husband. "Just do as you're told. We're here to teach you how to be a real man." At this point, our boy is just screaming and bawling his eyes out. "I'm not a dummy anymore, okay?" That day, the sky was filled with gloom, and funeral paper was scattered everywhere like snow. 4 members of the Yi family died in action all at once, and their bodies weren't even recovered from the battlefield. Ning Wu, a 3-star general of the Dan Kingdom, expressed his condolences and tried to explain the situation to Elder Yi, but he got cut off mid-sentence. "It's not your fault, kid. Every member of the Yi family knows that once you step onto the battlefield, you don't expect to come home alive." In reality, Elder Yi was hiding a dark secret. He never expected all his descendants to be assassinated on the same day. This clearly proves that someone is intentionally targeting the Yi clan. Just then, a young man collapsed to the ground, dropping a jade pendant and clutching a Peppa Pig doll. It was Yi Fan, the youngest son of the family, begging his grandpa to help him keep his toy. Ye Changfeng reached out to help him up, patting the shoulder of this boy who looked so innocent and naive. He declared that from now on, the Yi family only had 2 men left, him and Xiao Fan, and he would watch over him personally, while also arranging for him to marry the daughter of the Xuan family to keep the Yi bloodline alive. He told himself to stay strong, insisting that the Yi family wouldn't collapse and their spirit would never be broken. Meanwhile, the guests at the funeral started whispering, calling our boy a total idiot. Someone recounted that Yi Fan used to be the #1 genius of the Yi family, reaching the martial master realm by age 15 and standing among the top elites of the Great Xia, but a sudden accident left him mentally disabled and drained of all his power. Perhaps that's the only reason why, even as a total loser, he was still engaged to the Xuan family's top-tier heiress. The two were childhood sweethearts who grew up together and shared a deep bond. But those were just rumors from outsiders. Right in the middle of the Yi family funeral, Xuan Jinghua, the second son of the Xuan family, and the uncle of Xuan Yufei, who was betrothed to Yi Fan, loudly demanded to cancel the marriage. Yi Fan is just a fool now. They couldn't possibly ruin her lifelong happiness for him. Immediately after that, Ye Changfeng was so furious he coughed up blood on the spot. Wei Fan's face turned grim as he quickly rushed to support his grandfather. He looked at the girl and questioned her. "Why would you hurt Grandpa like this? Aren't you my wife?" The old man tried to suppress his emotions, clutching his chest as he asked, "Why, after all this time?" For 5 years, even when Yi Fan was acting like a total idiot, she never left. Why the sudden change of heart? She hesitated, unable to answer. Her uncle stepped forward, insulting the Ye family, asking how a dying old man and a village idiot could possibly maintain their former status. They only agreed to the engagement because of the Yi family's power back then, but what did they have to offer the Xuan family now? Yi Changfeng was shaking with rage, pointing his finger, and saying that it took a crisis to see people's true colors. The wind has changed, and he finally sees them for the snakes they are. Yi Fan went almost berserk listening to the girl's apology. She said she couldn't marry him, but he couldn't understand why, as he thought they were still doing great. Suddenly, 2 curvaceous, top-tier goddesses walked in and declared that if she wouldn't marry him, they would. Everyone realized these were the 1st and 7th sisters-in-law of the Ye family, and they were even dressed in mourning white. One was a 3-star martial goddess of Da'an, and the other was the daughter of the Su clan, masters of the pharmaceutical industry. Both were absolute bombshells. Then, Yi family's eldest daughter-in-law, Yu Linglong, and the 7th, Su Yi Shui, introduced themselves to the crowd, and without missing a beat, they rushed toward our boy, claiming they represented all 7 of the Yi sisters-in-law and were ready to marry Yi Fan to continue the family line. Their explosive announcement hit the Xuan family uncle and niece like a bolt of lightning. The guests were left absolutely shook, their jaws hitting the floor. Imagine seeing 7 gorgeous sisters-in-law all fighting to marry a single village idiot. And the crazy thing is, these girls are all top-tier waifus. That's some serious main character energy. Is this just for show, or are they going to call off the wedding in a few days? Whether it was intentional or not, the 2 sisters started rubbing their assets against our boy, making his blood boil and his face heat up as he yelled about the temperature. "It's so hot!" The jade pendant on his chest started glowing with a strange energy, and he felt a scorching heat in his heart. In that moment, the jade pendant began to crack. A surge of memories rushed back into his mind as if he were being reborn. 5 years ago, while Yi Fan was trying to break through to the Martial Saint realm, he was assassinated, and his soul was shattered into pieces. During the chaos, a fragment of his soul was sucked into the jade pendant. Even though the world inside the jade contained countless martial arts manuals and spiritual treasures to temper his soul, he had no outside help and could only wait for the soul-locking seal to break on its own so he could return to his body. So for now, our boy's original body is still stuck being a total NPC fool. Thinking about that, Yi Fan's face goes dark. Who would have thought his uncle and brothers would all be wiped out on the same day? Was this assassination orchestrated by the same rat who attacked him last year? Now that our MC is back at the peak of martial arts, he's basically untouchable in this great Xia land, and he's definitely going to hunt down the culprit and make them pay in blood. Back in reality, he's still feeling the heat radiating from his body. Donghua is over here mocking the sisters-in-law, saying even if our boy stops acting like a moron, he's still a walking target for assassins. He's betting they'll all be widows in no time. Yu Linglong shuts him down immediately, saying this is a Yi family business, and he's just an outsider who needs to mind his own lane. Looking at his sister-in-law, our boy's low-key stressing out. All 7 of these queens are actually down to marry him. If he shows his true power now, he'll tip off the mastermind and put his own neck on the line, not to mention his sisters-in-law would be in serious danger. To keep the Yi family safe, he's got to keep up the dumb guy act for a bit longer. Yi Fan immediately hugs the eldest sister, Ni Wu, and acts like a kid, saying from now on she's going to be his playmate. She looks a bit annoyed and asks if he's still going to call her sister after that move. She then turns to Ye Changfeng and addresses him respectfully as grandfather. She tells him she's still his granddaughter-in-law, and she's got everything else covered. Once the old man gives the green light, Yu Linglong instantly flexes her status as the head wife and officially calls off the engagement between Yi Fan and Xuan Yufei. Xuan Yufei is left speechless, but when nobody is looking, her eyes turn sharp enough to cut glass. Yi Fan isn't going to chase after anyone who leaves him. He's 100% committed to bringing the Yi family back to their former glory. That same day, the funeral ends, and our MC gets dragged to his room by 2 sisters-in-law who are ready to cause some chaos. They are determined to get Yi Fan's seed so they can continue the Yi family lineage. This time, it's the eldest sister and the 7th sister tag-teaming him. The other 5 are scheduled to rotate in over the next few days to keep Yi Fan company. Stuck in bed taking the heat, our boy can only let out a heavy sigh. Meanwhile, old man Zhang is kneeling before a Buddha statue, hearing reports that the Yi family funeral has wrapped up. Yi Changfeng didn't show any weird signs, but the 7 widows-to-be are all trying to marry that moron Yi Fan. The underling asks if they should just take them out too. Old man Zhang decides that anyone still trying to stick with the Yi family needs to be dealt with. Kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. He praises the success of the accident from 2 years ago and tells his goon to run that same play again. The underling notes that the Zhao family heir has been thirsting for Su Yishui for ages, so he'll definitely be down to take out Yi Fan. Old man Zhang shows a killer glint in his eyes, crushing the prayer beads in his hand. He gives the order. If Yi Fan is still a total dunce, leave him be, but if anything weird happens, take him out permanently. After the funeral, Ye Changfeng calls the granddaughters-in-law over one by one to thank them for showing up. He tells them it's all over now and they're free to go. The Yi family doesn't want to ruin their futures. Yu Linglong steps up for the squad again, doubling down that they're all staying to marry our MC and pop out some heirs. She isn't playing around. Yi Changfeng, with a heavy heart, asks why they're choosing to suffer like this. She leans into Yi Fan and declares that the sisters have already hashed it out. Over the next month, they're going to take turns staying by Yi Fan's side 24/7. They're dead set on producing an heir to avenge the Yi family. Seeing the determination on his sister-in-law's face, our boy is shook. Is she actually for real? If they're doing shifts every single day for a month, isn't he just going to turn into a baby-making machine? Just then, Yu Linglong notices his aura fluctuating and scared she might get suspicious. He quickly goes back to his dumb guy act, dancing around and yelling idiot vibes. Seeing him like this, she just sighs and tells herself it was just her imagination. She grabs his face with both hands and tells him, whether he understands or not, he used to be the #1 genius of Great Xia, and he needs to aim for that peak again. All 7 of them are pure and innocent, but they've committed their lives to him. If he ever cheats on them, she'll be the first one to lead the hunt and chase him to the ends of the earth. Yi Fan is hit hard by her words, realizing she's actually spitting facts. They're taking on so much social pressure just to stay with him. It takes some insane guts to stand by him through all this. Suddenly, Yu Linglong collapsed onto his shoulder, sobbing and begging for mercy. If our boy still had a shred of his wits, he'd need to pull himself together to protect the Yi family, keep his waifu safe, and take revenge for the fallen. On the surface, he kept up the act like a clueless kid, but deep down, he was already plotting his path of vengeance. Su Yishui watched the eldest sister-in-law coaching Yi Fan and felt a pang of pity, asking if she was being a bit too harsh. After all, mentally, he's basically just a giant toddler. The eldest sister told her not to worry. She'd personally reached out to Lei Tianjue, and he'd be coming to treat Yi Fan. Ye Changfeng's jaw hit the floor when he heard that name. That guy is literally the medicine saint of the Great Xia. He was confident that with the master himself on the case, Yi Fan was bound to make a full recovery. Yi Fan looked over at his grandfather, thinking to himself that while he didn't actually have a sickness, the old man was suffering from internal injuries and had been through way too much stress. If he didn't recover properly, he probably didn't have much time left on the clock. Once that medicine saint showed up, he could just casually drop some medical techniques to help the guy save his grandpa. Right on cue, he started jumping around like a kid again, screaming, "I want to get better!" But Yu Linglong managed to catch a glimpse of the moment he dropped his act. She couldn't wrap her head around the weird energy fluctuations coming from Yi Fan. Like, what is he actually hiding? Just then, Su Yishui cupped his face, whispering sweet nothings to calm him down, promising they'd cure him and eventually bear him a whole squad of cute kids. He inwardly sighed, thinking that after all that talking, they really just wanted to turn him into a baby-making machine, huh? Suddenly, Yu Linglong shoved Su Yishui into the MC's rock-hard chest, telling her she's on Yi Fan duty for the first month and better step up her game. Yi Changfeng watched the scene, getting a bit misty-eyed as he thanked the girls, while Linglong replied that they were all family and he shouldn't be so formal. Then, Grandpa Yayanyi pointed at Ye Fan, warning him that regardless of whether he recovered or not, he better treat his 7 sisters-in-law like royalty, or else. He grabbed Su Yishui's hand and swore that all 7 sisters were his wives and he'd love them all equally. There were things in his heart he couldn't say yet, but he hoped the sisters could endure this little bit of hardship for now. Seeing that no one else had anything to add, Su Yishui smiled and said it was getting late, so she was taking Ye Fan home. Zhao Tianlong was hosting a banquet tonight, and she planned to drag our boy there for a little field trip. Hearing that name, he felt a weird sense of recognition and instinctively muttered it to himself. Back during that car accident, just before he passed out, he caught a glimpse of the driver, a guy with a massive scar right by his eye. At the funeral, that same guy was standing right behind Zhao Tianlong, and back in the present, Yi Fan's face darkened. That crash was 100% linked to the Zhao family. At the Xuan mansion, Xuan Zhengke was throwing a tantrum, asking why they weren't getting ready for the Zhao family banquet yet. Xuan Yufei still hadn't even started her makeup. With teary eyes, she softly replied that she just wasn't in the mood. He snapped at her, asking if she was still obsessing over that guy Yi Fan. So what if Yu Linglong promised to marry him? It was just a hollow gesture to save a little face for the Yi family anyway. The family's finished, and tired of her uncle's nagging, she pushed him out to get some peace. She told him she'd be at the banquet tonight, so he should just head out first. Before leaving, he made sure to give her some final orders. Dress to kill, because all the big-name families would be showing up. The young master of the Li family even called to personally invite her. He kept rambling on for a bit longer, before finally getting out of her hair. But her mind was still occupied by only one name, Yi Fan. Meanwhile, back at our boy's place, Su Yishui's soft hands stopped as she was undressing him. He tilted his head, asking why she stopped smiling. She blushed, feeling super shy as she popped the question. "It's been so long since you trained, so how are you still this shredded?" He gave a cocky grin, showing off his 8-pack abs right in front of her. "Want to touch and see for yourself?" She turned bright red, unable to hold his gaze, and stammered out a response. "Who even wants to touch that?" She threw a pile of clothes at his face. She ordered him to put them on, because that was his outfit for the banquet tonight. After getting Yi Fan into some decent clothes, she sternly warned him, "From now on, don't call me sister-in-law, call me wifey." Our boy obediently agreed. "Okay, I have a wifey now." He then pretended to be a total goofball, jumping around with joy like his life was peaking. "I have a wifey, this is the best day ever." She thought to herself, "I can't believe a genius like him, the top talent of the great Xia, got dumped by his fiancée when he hit rock bottom. I'll love him with everything I've got and never let him suffer again." Out loud, she just gently praised him for being a good boy. Yi Xue then took the initiative to hug him, making a vow to be his wife forever. Yi Fan immediately went for the power move, aggressively pinning her down. In the midst of the struggle, our protagonist clearly felt his body surging, a wave of heat radiating through his entire system. He thought seriously, and realized his hidden talents were still fully operational. In that moment, he tapped into the mysterious energy source that helped him reach the Grandmaster realm by the age of 15. As long as he makes physical contact with a girl and gets her heart racing, he can absorb that warm aura and convert it into martial arts energy to level up his stats. Even without the physical touch, this energy source generates its own aura, making his cultivation speed infinitely faster than the average NPC. With 7 wives in his arsenal, there's no way he isn't hitting the max level soon. Just then, someone outside knocked to inform her that the family head wanted a word. Yi Xue quickly pushed our boy away, shouting that she'd be there in a sec. The butler reminded her that it wasn't just the family head, but the second young master was there too, and they wanted her ASAP. She wondered, the whole crew is there? Are they trying to put me on trial? The butler hesitated, unsure how to answer, but she just waved him off and told him to get moving. She was already prepared for whatever mess was coming. Yi Fan wondered if she was getting roasted by the Su family just for marrying him. He definitely had to tag along and see what was going down. Inside the grand hall of the Su estate, almost the entire clan was present, and one of them started firing shots. Has Su Yishui lost her mind? She's announcing she's marrying that idiot Yi Fan? Is she trying to drag the whole Su family down to the grave with her? The loudmouth was Su Minhao, the second son of the Su family. Another hanger-on chimed in, claiming Su Yishui was basically begging for the Su clan to be wiped out, just like the Ye family. She replied coldly, I have my own plans. Wei Fan stood in the corner, listening to the drama, feeling his heart ache for his wife getting grilled by her own kin. Then, the old uncle started jumping in, calling her reckless and demanding she be exiled from the family. Su Minhao turned to the eldest son and started throwing shade. Can't you even control your own daughter? Su Donghua, the head of the Su family, loudly declared his full support for Yishui's decision. Su Yishui looked at her dad with teary eyes, momentarily speechless. He firmly reminded them, 30 years ago, when the Su family was on the verge of bankruptcy, who was it that stepped up and provided the capital to save us? If not for the Ye family backing us, the Su family would just be a tiny workshop right now. Yishui did nothing wrong. Anyone who has a problem with it can get out. His epic roast left the Su clan stunned, but before the shock wore off, phones started buzzing everywhere. They all received the same notification at once. First Su Minhao, whose supplier just nuked their contract. Others started reporting in too, saying various investors were pulling the plug on their deals. Everyone knew the Yi family had some deep secrets, and nobody wanted to touch that toxic swamp. Word on the street was a big-time player was cutting off the Su family's survival lines. It was obviously the same person who took out the Ye family. This was a classic kill the chicken to scare the monkey play. The panicked uncles argued that now wasn't the time to be playing the hero. The Yi family only got into this mess because they messed with a force they couldn't handle. We can't follow in their footsteps. Didn't the eldest brother want to collaborate with the Xia family in the city? Su Honghai slumped, realizing that the situation was officially going south. He was stuck in a dilemma. He couldn't be an ingrate, but he also couldn't drag the Su family down into his own grave. What's the move here? Su Minhao pointed his finger directly at Su Yishui in accusation. It's all your fault. You're the reason the Su family can't get their head above water. She calmly replied that since tonight's banquet is at the Xia residence, she would do everything in her power to secure the contract and boost the partnership between their families to save the Su business. She stood up, bowed to her father and the elders, and declared firmly that she wanted to maintain both integrity and the family's interests. Otherwise, she was ready to sell all her shares and walk away from Su Corp. Watching from the sidelines, Yifan wondered who they were going to send to handle this tonight. If I bump into them first, I'm definitely helping my wifey secure that contract. When things kicked off at the party, Zhao Tianlong led a bunch of goons to start talking trash. Isn't this the idiot from the Yi family? How did you randomly spawn here? Did you come here because you were too hungry to find food? How about this young master tosses you some scraps, huh? Ni Wu asked what kind of food, already plotting to beat this loser into the ground. He found a wineglass, spit into it, and dumped his half-smoked cigarette right into the mix. His lackeys followed suit, digging through their noses and dropping the contents in. Then he wickedly handed the glass to Ye Fan, claiming it was a special welcome drink he prepared personally for the young master. He gritted his teeth, his heart burning with intense jealousy and confusion. How can the main character have it this good? His family is wiped out and he's a total moron, yet he still has 7 beauties tripping over themselves to be with him. Today, he's going to humiliate him and show the whole world what a pathetic bottom feeder he really is. The trash following Tianlong urged him to drink up already. Drink it and don't forget to thank Brother Long. Holding the glass with both hands, he inspected the floating filth and cluelessly asked if this was some fancy new way to mix a drink. Everyone was laughing at his stupidity, but he just looked thoughtful, remarking that it still seemed to be missing something. He stopped a cleaning lady passing by, took some of the foul-smelling dirty water from her bucket, and claimed that a little extra spice would make it way better. Meanwhile, the goons already had their phones out, recording the scene just like he ordered. Make sure you get a clear shot so everyone can see how low this supposed prodigy has fallen. Before he could even finish his sentence, someone gripped his throat, his eyes widening in pure disbelief. Before he could react, Yi Fan poured the entire liquid concoction down his throat. Ni Wu told him the Zhao family always drinks first. After he gulped it down, the main character let go, and he started retching uncontrollably from the sheer disgust. A moment later, he looked at him with burning resentment and glared. You dare feed me this disgusting trash? I'm going to kill you! Yi Fan played dumb and asked innocently. It wasn't tasty enough. He shrugged and said his wife Yishui doesn't let him drink, but since he offered, he just had to return the favor. Yi Fan thought to himself that the things he learned from the Jade Pendant weren't just martial arts, but also the century-old wisdom of 13 legendary masters. Dealing with a clown like him is way too easy. Zhao Tianlong couldn't hold back his rage and ordered his men to beat the MC to death, so the goons lunged at him with their fists. The main character released a massive wave of energy, but before he could even move, someone screamed for them to stop. A shadow flashed by with incredible speed, snapping the throats of two goons back and roaring that no one is allowed to touch Brother Fan. Zhao Tianlong saw this and pointed a shaking finger, saying, "Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip?" Adjusting his gloves, Wang Fuguix, Ye Fan's best friend, replied that if he didn't come, who would protect Brother Fan? Ye Fan looked at him with genuine gratitude. They grew up together, and throughout the whole time he was considered an idiot. He was always there by his side, making sure no one bullied him. When the time is right, he's definitely paying back this debt of loyalty. One of the thugs trembled and whispered to Zhao Tianlong that Wang Fuguix is one of the top 2 experts in the Great Xia. Realizing they were way out of their league, he quickly dragged his men out of there. Harboring a grudge, he told himself that revenge is a dish best served cold, and there's no way that guy can protect Ye Fan forever. He'll take him down eventually. And just like that, they were gone. Wang Fuqi tried to act all serious at first, claiming he already knew the whole situation. The very next second, the dude completely lost his cool and lunged at our boy with zero chill. He was fanboying hard, saying as expected of young Master Yi, "Even all 7 of your gorgeous sisters-in-law want to marry you. Once our boy fully recovers, he's going to be living the absolute dream, right?" Yi Fan was literally internally screaming, thinking, "Am I really that kind of guy?" He just wanted this dude to let go of him. Finally, the guy took a hint and backed off. He placed his hands on Yi Fan's shoulders and stared him down so intensely that our boy turned pale. Then out of nowhere, the guy started sniffing around him like a creep, leaving Yi Fan totally confused. The guy suddenly realized the vibe, or rather, the aura, around Yi Fan felt off, wondering if he'd already recovered his senses. Yi Fan felt this guy was just too extra, and honestly, it was getting kind of weird. Before he could react, the voice of a gorgeous lady drew both their eyes away. Su Yushui walked over, complaining that she only went to touch up her makeup for a second, and asked why he wasn't listening and wandering off, wondering if anyone had bullied him. Yi Fan played the fool, telling his wifey Yushui to chill, because as long as she was around, he would be totally fine. Wang Fuqi bowed deeply and respectfully, telling her she could rest easy because he would protect Brother Fan with his life. Yushui was low-key relieved, noting that having him back around made her feel much safer. Right on cue, the MC started the event hosted by Zhao Corp, announcing that Ha Hao from the Ha Group was there to discuss a potential partnership in the city. Su Yushui gave Yi Fan a quick heads-up that she had to go hustle for that contract, leaving him in Wang Fuqi's care. Wang Fuqi agreed, but leaked some insider intel that the Zhao family was also thirsty for that deal, warning her to watch her back. Ha Hao took the stage with a sharp look in his eyes, greeting everyone with major boss energy. Zhao Tianlong thought to himself, "Once I bag this contract, Su Yushui will have no choice but to kneel and beg for my attention." The MC then threw a curveball, asking if his presence meant he was officially teaming up with the Zhao family. He replied that the Zhaos were all right, but Yun City was massive, and the Ha Group was always down to explore options with other firms. The guy's face went dark, but he was too triggered to say anything out loud. He was internally fuming, wondering what the hell this old fox was playing at. Su Yushui was practically buzzing, whispering to herself, "Did little Fan hear that? If Master Ha said that, it means we've actually got a shot at this." But Chen Yin felt like this guy looked a bit familiar. Just then, Ha Hao locked eyes with Ye Fan in the crowd and shouted Divine Doctor, dropping the jaw of everyone in the room. He immediately power-walked over to Ye Fan, grabbing his hand and acting like they were long-lost besties. He declared that he finally had the chance to pay back the man who saved his life. The room instantly erupted into whispers and gossip. Nobody expected that the fool actually had ties to the powerful Ha family. The Su family just hit the jackpot, and it was obvious the Ha Group would definitely sign with them now. Zhao Tianlong gritted his teeth, demanding to know why the CEO of Ha Group was shaking hands with some random idiot. He stomped over and tried to argue, asking if Ha was hallucinating, since there's no way this fool could be a miracle doctor. He even threw in a shady comment, reminding him that he surely knew the current state of the Ye family. He suggested that going with the Zhao family would be the way more logical play. Ha Hao stood his ground, booming that he absolutely knew what he was talking about. He gripped Yi Fan's hand, confirming that when he was on the verge of death last year, it was this man who saved him. The only thing he couldn't wrap his head around was why he had turned into a fool. Su Yushui stepped in to clear the air, explaining that her fiancé was in a car accident last year and suffered brain trauma. Ha Hao nodded, saying that pieces the puzzle together. 5 years ago, young Master Yi was a total prodigy, legendary in both martial arts and medical skills. The timeline of his rescue and the subsequent accident matched perfectly. He then took the lead, asking if the Su family specialized in the pharmaceutical industry. He wanted to know if she was interested in a partnership with his company. She was so shocked she had to cover her mouth, needing to confirm what she just heard. Did he really want to drop a partnership on her company? Zhao Tianlong panicked and rushed over to try and stop it. The two families' alliance with the Diep family is currently being blacklisted and ghosted by every partner in the game. If he partners with them, he'll get dragged down too, so he's better off sticking with the Zhao family. Ha Hao just waves him off dismissively. So what if he gets dragged into it? If it wasn't for Diep Pham saving his life back then, the Ha family wouldn't even exist today. If the Tu family hasn't abandoned him, why should he be scared? He reaches out toward Tu Wai Tuyet and drops the bombshell. Tu Corp is now the Ha family's top priority partner, and anyone beefing with the Tu family is now officially beefing with Ha Corp. Tu Wai Tuyet is stoked, grabbing his hand and pouring out her deepest gratitude. The crowd is shook. Even though the Diep family is down bad, their foundation is still built different. It's not even a surprise, considering Diep Pham was a straight-up monster genius back in the day. You gotta give it to Wai Tuyet. She's got the vision to spot a potential blue-chip stock early. Zhao Tianlong's face looks like he just ate trash. He's mentally cursing our boy for constantly ruining his vibe. Meanwhile, Old Man Ha gives him a wink, signaling that he's not the one she should be thanking. So Wai Tuyet catches the hint immediately. She doesn't care about the crowd and pulls him into a hug, whispering, "Thanks, little fam." Our boy is low-key hyped he could help her out, so he hugs Ha Hao back, declaring him a real one for helping his wifey. While hugging him, Ha Hao whispers that the Ha family can only do so much, as there are other terrifying forces in the shadows he can't afford to offend. Our boy drops the act for a second, voice cold. "You did well, I won't let you leave empty-handed." Old Man Ha is low-key terrified, realizing our boy isn't actually slow, but he plays it cool and says nothing. Ha Hao is about to stutter out a response, but our boy pulls him into a tight embrace. Leaning in close, he spills the tea. He's being targeted, so he has to act like a total idiot to dodge the assassins. He tells him to keep it on the down low and wait for his signal. The old man obediently nods. Ha Hao is calculating. If a kid in his 20s is playing 4D chess like this, once the Diep family makes a comeback, his own family is going to be eating good. He makes up his mind right then and there. No backing out now, he's going all in. Meanwhile, Zhao Tianlong tries to butt in, shouting, "What about the Zhao family? Didn't we already talk about a partnership?" Diep Pham goes back into brain-dead mode, pointing at Tianlong and calling him a bad guy trying to steal his wifey. So Wai Tuyet quickly calms him down, telling him that's not happening. Ha Hao realizes this is probably his first official quest as the new partner. He winds up and slaps Zhao Tianlong across the face, shouting, "Do you need me to teach you how to behave, you brat?" Clutching his burning face, Tianlong fires back, saying even if Ha Hao is a big shot, the Zhao family is still a top-tier clan in Vanthon. "Why are you hitting me in front of everyone like this?" Ha Hao replies that just the fact that he dared to simp for Diep Pham's wife is reason enough for a major beatdown. He signals 2 bodyguards to drag him out, framing him for being a drunkard who's causing a scene. The bodyguards haul him away while he's screaming for them to let go. "I'm not drunk," he yells. Ha Hao then invites the couple to a private spot to talk business, and she agrees to tag along. Elsewhere, Zhao Tianlong's lackey catches him and asks if he's good. He grinds his teeth, wiping his mouth, convinced everything that happened is Diep Pham's fault. He asks in a deadly tone, "Are the people ready?" A lackey confirms that everyone is in position, just waiting for the green light. He grins like a villain, confirming that today, the protagonist isn't making it back home. Back in the car, Tui Tuyet keeps stealing glances at Diep Pham, wondering how she never noticed he was this much of a hottie before. Catching her staring, he acts like a kid again, leaning over. "Sis, what are you looking at? Do you think I'm super handsome?" She quickly denies it. "No way." He smirks, doubling down. "Yeah, you definitely do. If you like what you see, I'll let you stare all night long." She panics internally, repeating his words in her head, while her mind starts drifting to what might happen later tonight. She wonders if she's finally going to teach him how to make a baby. She was blushing and stressed, wondering if our boy even knew how to produce an heir tonight, or if she'd have to teach him, which would be just straight-up embarrassing. He suddenly reached out and touched Su Yishue's thigh, and she felt a wave of oppressive heat surge through her, making her yelp out that it was way too hot. She couldn't understand why every time their skin touched, she felt this intense, burning sensation. Seeing her expression look all kinds of wrong, he worriedly asked, "Sis, you good?" Looking into his big round eyes, she wondered if this was Xiao Fan's legendary perverted power, where just making skin contact with a girl boosts his stats tenfold. Without thinking, she touched his face, thinking Xuan Yufei is actually blind for not seeing what a catch Xiao Fan is, but whatever, he's hers now. He hugged her tight, innocently calling her his wife, and saying he wants to have kids with her. She's already confident their future baby is going to be a total visual masterpiece. Just then, our boy's eyes lit up like he hit a jackpot, and he told her he needed to step out of the car to handle some business. Of course, she didn't object. He acted all bratty, waving his hand and saying he had to go drop a deuce. She told him to take his time while she waited, being the most obedient waifu ever. "All right, go ahead and do your thing. I'll be right here." Suddenly, a car flashed its high beams at our lead. It seemed they'd been stalking him for a while. From inside the car, Zhao Tianlong and his goons exchanged looks, fully committed to ending our boy in the middle of the woods. 3 NPCs with flashlights went in to hunt him down, but they couldn't find a trace of anyone. Tianlong got impatient and demanded to know where the guy went. He was just right here. How did he vanish? Suddenly, our boy appeared right in front of him, casually standing with his back turned. The guy sprinted over, slapped a hand on his shoulder, and gloated, thinking there was no way our boy could escape him now. When he turned around, he had some black smudges on his face, clearly not looking like Yifan at all. Realizing the face looked a bit off, he asked, "Hey, did you see a guy walk by here?" Our boy pointed in the other direction and said he just saw him behind the rockery, and the whole squad immediately fell for the bait. He ordered them to catch Yifan first, then grab Su Yishui to vent his anger. But after searching, he found nobody and turned back, fuming. "You piece of trash, you lied to me?" Our boy replied that he didn't lie to anyone, and that guy even told him to pass on a message. He tilted his head, asking what the message was. Our boy suddenly radiated a terrifying aura and replied, "That guy said some people want him dead, so he's here to take care of you." Before he could even process that, our boy moved faster than lightning and knocked out all the goons following him. Now only 2 of them were left standing. Zhao Tianlong was shaking as he asked, "Who the hell are you?" Back turned to him, our boy's voice dropped to a cold, deep register. "Can't you even recognize me anymore?" Instantly, he ripped off the mask to reveal his real face. Zhao Tianlong was stunned to the point of silence. "You're Yifan, and you were just disguised?" Then he realized a much scarier secret. Our boy had been playing the fool this whole time. This realization made him tremble violently, his face turning ghostly pale. He realized that if our boy was hiding his power this long, he must be at the Grandmaster level by now, and yet he was stupid enough to humiliate him and try to steal his girl. He knew he was officially cooked. Yifan flashed a dangerously wicked smile and started listing off all the trashy things the guy had done. Like how he saw the scarred guy who always followed him around right after the car accident. That guy immediately dropped to his knees, begging young Master Yi for mercy. Our boy told him that even if he offered to be his slave, the damage was already done, and since he was the type to pay back every grudge, he balled his fist and executed the guy on the spot. Watching his right-hand man get incinerated into ash right before his eyes, Zhao Tianlong was so terrified he literally pissed his pants, trembling on the ground as he asked what kind of sorcery that was. Showing off his fist, our boy didn't mind flexing that his fire attribute Qi could crush targets into dust, and asked if he wanted a taste. He didn't say it out loud, but thanks to the fire burning inside his body, he could pull off these wild techniques. Now, with a stern voice, he demanded to know why he tried to set him up last year. Stuttering in fear, the guy kept apologizing, claiming a massive, untouchable family forced his hand and he had no choice. The family he mentioned was the Liu clan. Our boy gritted his teeth, remembering that old man Liu was once his grandfather's most trusted subordinate, and he never expected a betrayal like this. The guy frantically blurted out that the Liu clan was just taking orders from someone even bigger, allegedly a major power from the capital. While our boy grabbed him by the throat. Our boy demanded to know who it was. Sweating buckets, the guy confessed that every big family in Yun City, the Zhao Wang and Li families, all answered to this one mysterious person. The crowd watched as Liu lifted the guy off the ground like a rag doll, and the dude was literally begging for his life. He swore on his life he wouldn't spill a single secret about our boy. Yifan gave a cold smirk, like he'd actually believe a word coming from this fraud's mouth. The guy tried to pinky promise, but Yifan has zero patience for fake innocent NPCs, so he crushed him into dust with a single palm strike. Yifan walked away like a total boss, mentally marking the Zhao Wang, Li, and Liu families for total annihilation. Su Yishui realized he'd been gone for a while and went looking for him, shouting, "Little Fan, where are you?" Yifan felt a soft spot for her. She's usually scared of tiny mice, yet here she was trekking through the woods just for him. Yifan rushed over to her, grinning like nothing had just happened. She ran toward him, anxious, asking, "Why were you gone so long? Are you okay?" Suddenly, he pointed at the ground and screamed, "Yo, that mouse is huge!" She jumped right into his arms in terror, and our boy immediately took advantage of the situation, teasing her about how good she smelled. The mouse was long gone anyway. That's when she realized he was just being a massive troll, right? He scooped her up bridal style, lying through his teeth that the forest was infested with rats, and carried her back to the car, leaving the Zhao family thugs wondering where their boss went. How could he possibly still be breathing? The whole group panicked and charged into the woods to hunt for Zhao Tianlong. Zhao Dexiang, the head of the Zhao clan and Tianlong's sugar daddy-in-chief, heard his son and a henchman were missing and straight up lost it. How is this even possible? People don't just vanish into thin air. He ordered them to keep searching. A henchman insisted they'd scoured that forest 100 times, but there was nothing to find. Another one chimed in, saying the mysterious expert was way too cracked, having folded all of them in 5 minutes. Tianlong definitely got snatched. The old man gritted his teeth, racking his brain. Tianlong is his only heir. Who would dare touch him? Was this the Yi family trying to get revenge? He screamed at them to keep digging and report back the second they had a lead. He retreated to his room, brooding, wondering if this was fallout from that incident years ago. He should just ended Yi Fan when he had the chance. When he got to his study, he spotted a figure chilling in his chair and roared, "Who the hell are you?" Yi Fan sat there with his fingers interlaced, smiling. "Just the guy you guys tried to unalive last year." The old man went pale, realizing Yi Fan hadn't been acting dumb this whole time. Was he faking it for all these months? Zhao Dexiang tried to scream for help, but before a sound left his throat, Yi Fan flicked a pen right through his palm and jammed his mouth shut with a piece of debris. Radiating pure main character energy, he stepped toward the old man and ordered him to start spilling the tea. He gave the old man a little relief from the pain. Mr. Zhao nodded frantically. Only then did Yi Fan let him speak. The old guy gasped, "So, Tianlong really died by your hand?" Yi Fan didn't even blink, just throwing it back at him. And what if he did? Did he expect our boy to keep a guy who tried to kill him around for tea and snacks? The old man was fuming, but he had to swallow his pride and claim they were just following orders. Yi Fan's eyes turned lethal, telling him to quit the cap and stop the side quests. What he wanted to know was which families in Yun City, besides the Zhaos, Lis, and Wangs, were still bowing down to the Liu family. The guy gripped his own wrist, swearing on his life that it was only those three. The Lia sent experts to stalk the Ye family, but he genuinely didn't know where they were hiding. Next, Yi Fan asked the big question, who's the real mastermind behind the Liu family? He claimed he had no idea, only meeting a rep from the capital a few times who everyone called Young Master Zhou. He added that this guy has insane influence in Yun City, literally powerful enough to replace the governor. "You can't take him on," he warned. Wei Fan's face turned into a block of ice as he gripped the old man's throat. "Not your concern," he spat, while the old guy begged for his life. He had one more piece of intel that was actually worth something. The old man rushed to say they targeted the Ye family, not just for their power, but because they were hunting for something hidden in their house. But when Yi Fan pressed him for what that something was, the old man just shook his head. He really didn't know. He dealt with him just like last time, sending him off early to reunite with his ancestors. By the next day, the news had already reached Ye Changfeng's ears. In just one night, the Zhao father and son duo were wiped off the map. The rest of the family wasn't exactly having a chill time either. The second master got into a fatal accident, and the third master took a permanent dive from a high-rise. Someone is clearly on a mission to erase the Zhao family, and honestly, that clean execution is top-tier work. The Zhao family's head of security, Lung Feng, reported that the car accident involving Ye Fan back in the day was linked to the Zhao family, but the trail went cold right there. Ye Changfeng's eyes went cold. He knew he had to keep digging. With this much chaos hitting the Ye family, there's no way this is just a coincidence. Over at the Su mansion, Ye Fan is lounging on his bed, thinking the news of the Zhao family getting deleted must be all over the streets by now. Word of that little event has probably spread, right? While he's lost in thought, Su Yishui saunters in wearing a spicy sleepwear set, asking him if she looks cute. She keeps telling herself not to be shy, since he's basically a clueless kid who needs her to guide him through everything. He plays the smooth talker and calls her the prettiest ever, and when he boops her nose, she calls him a total flirt. Then, she tries to show him the ropes of adult activities, but he just plays dumb and asks random questions, making her so embarrassed that she just shuts him up with a kiss. The heat spreading through her body was enough to make her lose her breath. Right in the middle of it, he realized his martial arts inner energy was about to level up to high-level martial venerate status, and he might even break through to the next realm. The noises echoing from the room were enough to make anyone blush. The subordinates couldn't help but gossip. Even though young Master Yi is still a bit dim, he's definitely still performing where it counts. Su Yishui is hitting the jackpot tonight. If he ever recovers his full wits, they'll be a literal power couple. Shu Dong from the Shu family shouted, "Hey Dad, have you heard the news? Is this Yi Fan's doing?" He hadn't even finished his sentence before his dad told him to zip it. "Do you think this is something you just talk about casually?" He scrambled to apologize. Shu Jian reminded him that the Yi family did their family a huge favor back in the day. If Yi Fan actually recovers, they should be the first ones celebrating. The son grumbled, asking what if he found out the truth about the last few years, and decided to snake all the Yi family assets while they were struggling. His dad immediately slapped him across the face for being a total idiot. "You're such a disappointment, acting without thinking at your age. I already had people investigate. It wasn't Yi Fan." He pulled out a note, confirming that Zhao Dexuan left a letter in his room, explaining he got targeted for stealing someone's girl from a hidden sect. The son asked confused, who could this high-level master possibly be? His dad told him the guy's name is Fan Ye. He scratched his head, looking lost. He'd never heard that name in his life. His dad said it doesn't matter if you haven't heard of him, as long as he's got the actual strength. Seeing his dad's expression change, he realized something, tapped his shoulder, and asked if he was planning to use this master fan to take out both Ye Changfeng and Ye Fan. If that works, the whole Yi family fortune goes to them. He took off running to get the job done immediately. His dad's eyes gleamed with malice, deciding that Yifan's good days were officially over. The next morning, Yifan and his wife hadn't even woken up yet when someone banged on the door to report that Xuan Yufei was there to see Yifan, freaking them both out. A moment later, the two of them were fully dressed and standing before Xuan Yufei. She looked at them standing together and sighed, admitting they actually looked like a perfect match. Su Yishui spoke up first, reminding her that the engagement between the Xuan family and Yifan was officially dead. So why is she here? Coming to mock her man, are we? She looked down, nervously explaining herself to him. It wasn't her idea yesterday, it was all her uncle's scheme. She actually showed up to apologize to him. Wei Feng kept his expression ice-cold, thinking that if Xuan Yufei was truly this weak-willed, she might actually have been coerced by her uncle. Suddenly, someone yelled her name, causing all three of them to whip their heads around. Li Yangyang, bouquet in hand, flashed a bright smile and asked what she was doing here. He claimed he had been looking everywhere for her. He ran over, grabbed her hand, and told her to get in the car. Didn't you say we were going to the movies today? She was secretly panicking, wondering why this guy had to show up right now. Xuan Yufei loudly demanded to know who told him she was here. Was it her uncle? The sky in Ye Feng's eyes suddenly turned dark and stormy. He was actually considering letting her off the hook, but he didn't expect her to cozy up to the Li family. This clan is a subsidiary of the Liu family in the capital and is actively plotting against the Yi family. Siding with them is a direct declaration of war against him. Su Yishui caught his dark expression and assumed he was heartbroken seeing his ex with another man. She immediately grilled Xuan Yufei, asking if she came to apologize or just to flex her new boyfriend. She declared that he is now Yifan's woman, so she should stop dreaming about stirring up trouble for him. Before he could even react, she planted a passionate kiss on him in front of everyone. Xuan Yufei's heart shattered. She covered her mouth to hide her tearing eyes, so they've already gotten this far. Looking back at her, Su Yishui confirmed that everything was exactly as she suspected. If you've got any sense, get lost right now. At that moment, Yifan played along, wrapping his arms around Su Yishui and boasting that she is his woman. He's already got other wives, too. 7 of them, and every single one is hotter than you. Xuan Yufei looked like she was about to collapse, stumbling as she muttered that as long as he's happy, it's fine. I wish you happiness. With that, she turned and ran off. Li Yangyang tried to chase after her with his flowers, but she shut him down. Stay away from me. She stomped off ahead. The leaf rod scrambled to keep up with her. Watching her walk away, Yifan whispered to himself, there are some mistakes you make that can never be undone. Back at the Liu estate, Liu Ran was losing his mind, demanding to know if Xiahao had lost his marbles by pledging loyalty to the Ye family and partnering with Su Corp. His subordinate reported that everything he did was to repay a life-saving debt. But Old Man Liu remembered the master's orders. Wipe out any family that defies them to send a message. The Zhao family is already dust, and now he needs the Li and Wang families to finish off the Su Corp and ruin Su Yishui for good. He smirked, itching to see who else would dare partner with the Su family to help the Ye household after this. Today, Yishui had to head to the company, so she left Yifan in the care of Wang Fugui. Before leaving, she reminded him, Hubby Yixuo, you better be waiting for me when I get back. Once Yishui was out of sight, Wang Fugui told him to drop the act. He nudged Yifan, saying that pretending to be a soft pushover to bait those scumbags is top-tier gigachad behavior. He had clocked that Yifan was back to full strength the moment they met. He leaned in and whispered, was it you who wiped out the Zhao family? No point faking it in front of me. Give it to me straight. Has your cultivation broken through to the next level again? Yifan thought to himself that he really is his day one homie. He's sharp as a tack. But he worried that with so many enemies on his back, he shouldn't drag his friend into the line of fire. He played dumb, pulled his empty pockets inside out, and asked if he was supposed to be hiding something in there. His friend tried to backtrack, saying that wasn't what he meant. Wang Fugui grabbed his head in frustration, saying fine, don't talk if you don't want to, but he wasn't buying the act for a second. He then suggested taking him to their old hangout spots to reminisce. Yifan played along, asking, oh yeah, which spots? Inside his head, he was already picturing the crazy stuff his buddy was planning, thinking, bro, this is getting a bit too intense. Gotta keep it PG, I'm a married man now. Without saying a word, his boy dragged him to a tall building and asked if he remembered this place. Back in the day, he used to take his homie here to go shopping all the time. He didn't expect to be brought to the black market, of all places. 3 floors underground, this place is the biggest black market in Yuncheng. It's loaded with rare treasures and ancient loot. If you've got the cash, there's nothing you can't get your hands on here. Our boy hopped into the basement, acting like a total NPC with 0 brain cells to keep his cover. Playing the fool, but deep down, he was actually having a blast. Perfect timing to hunt for some top-tier gear. Seeing him navigate the place so easily, his buddy figured our boy's memory must be fully recovered. From a corner, he analyzed that even though Wang Fuqi is a bit of a loser, He's sharp enough to catch on to his secret moves. Once inside, his buddy puffed out his chest, bragging, "Whatever the boss wants today, it's on me." He scanned the room, but nothing caught his eye. Suddenly, his eyes glowed with a faint purple light, a special ocular technique he mastered after years of training. This skill lets him see through trash items to find hidden gems, basically a cheat code for free loot. With his vision, he spotted a chi pill, the exact item needed to break through to the Grandmaster level. That thing is priceless. You couldn't buy it for $1 billion on the open market. Wang Fuqi picked up a purple rock, admiring it, and said, "This looks cool, I'll buy it for the sister-in-law to play with." Our boy knew that after 5 years of stagnation, this chi pill was exactly what his bro needed to finally break through. He picked up another orb and joked that it would be a perfect toy to tease the cat with. The merchant chimed in, saying if they bought his other stuff, he'd throw in that rock for free. The merchant was thinking, "It's just a paperweight from my house, perfect for scamming these clueless idiots." Pointing at the purple rock, our boy ordered him to bag it up and told Wang Fuqi to cough up the money. His buddy protested, saying he'd buy the purple one, but told him to drop the other rock. The sister-in-law would be mad if he brought home literal trash. Inside he was sweating, thinking, is our boy's brain still fried? Our boy acted like a spoiled kid, nagging him, "Didn't you promise to pay for everything? You trying to break your word now?" With no other choice, he sighed and pulled out his wallet to pay up. Only then did our boy smile, handing him the black rock and saying, "Here, this one's for you." Meanwhile, the rumor mill in the black market was buzzing. "Hey, did you hear? The Yi family's rivals are hiring high-level martial venerates to wipe them off the map." Hearing that felt like a lightning strike. He was shook, wondering if it was actually true. The guys walking ahead were already pitying the Yi family, saying they got too powerful for their own good and were doomed to be annihilated. Wii fans' eyes turned cold. These vultures couldn't wait to make their move, huh? But now that he's back in the game, he's not about to let those clowns get what they want. Seeing him space out, Wang Fuqi asked, "Big boss, what's on your mind?" Our boy just shoved the black rock at him and said, "Just try it, trust me." Pale and sweating bullets, his buddy tried to explain, "This is a rock, not a gummy. You can't eat this." "Come on, big bro." He was still stubborn, asking why he wouldn't just eat it. Yifan shoved it into his mouth anyway. The rock cracked open to reveal a gold medicinal pill, leaving his buddy stunned. He realized it was a rare chi pill and quickly hid it, frantically checking if anyone saw. He couldn't believe it. An item that boosts breakthrough odds by 70% was hidden inside a cheap rock? Meanwhile, our MC yawned, annoyed that he couldn't find a decent snack. As Wang Fuqi looked at him with pure gratitude, Xiahao called to ask if he was free to meet someone. Hearing that name, our boy started weighing his options. Xiahao knew his condition, so if he was reaching out, it must be some top-tier drama. He laughed and said, "Perfect timing, I'm starving anyway." Half an hour later, at the Royal Hotel, he went ham on the feast, laughing, "Let's just focus on the food for now." "Yeah, let's just eat." Shaharan is still patiently introducing the people in front of him to our boy. He gestures to confirm that both of them are Xia family assets, one of them being the king of the underworld, Li Hu. If our boy needs any dirty work done in the shadows, he can just call on this guy. Li Hu bows respectfully, pledging his absolute loyalty and promising that he's ready to do whatever our boy says. The other guy is Sun Qian, a high-flying CEO in Yuncheng who knows the national landscape like the back of his hand. He tells our boy that if he ever needs a favor in the future, just say the word and he won't refuse. Meanwhile, at the dinner table, Yifan is playing the fool, telling Xiaoharan about how he fed Wang Fuqi a rock. He even calls him uncle like they're best buds. Sun Qian watches them chat, silently judging that the young master of the Ye family has actually lost his marbles. But since Mr. Xia is acting so respectful toward him, there's definitely something fishy going on here. Looks like it's time to reevaluate the whole Yi family situation. Wang Fuqi wipes Yifan's mouth and explains to Xiaoharan that since his big bro hasn't fully recovered, he'll keep this favor in his pocket and hit him up when they need backup. Just then, Li Hu's phone rings. After checking the message, he drops the bomb that Wu Laolong has mobilized his crew to hunt down Su Yishui. Yifan's expression instantly turns ice cold, unable to suppress his inner demon, releasing such a lethal aura that everyone present starts sweating buckets. He's grinding his teeth internally, thinking, "These trash dare to touch my woman?" Wang Fuqi is terrified and tries to signal him that his vibe is way too aggressive right now. Yifan quickly masks his expression, sticks 2 chopsticks on his head like the Monkey King, starts hopping around, and claims he's going to save his wife Yishui. Right on cue, Xiaoharan makes a call to rally the boys, ordering everyone to mobilize and protect Su Yishui at all costs. Meanwhile, on the main street, a fleet of high-end luxury cars is tearing through the road like a pack of wolves. In the lead is Su Yishui's car, already heavily damaged and battered. Inside the car, 3 bodyguards with guns out report that the pursuers are sticking to them like glue and they just can't shake them. She tightens her gear and orders them to keep driving no matter what. She'd rather die than fall into the hands of that scumbag crew. Suddenly, an enemy SUV slams directly into their vehicle. The driver didn't expect the villains to play so dirty with a ramming tactic. Luckily, he's got quick reflexes and manages to swerve just in time. The problem is, they've swerved into a dead-end alleyway with no way out. Now they have no choice but to ditch the car and fight on foot. Her guards tell her to run down the alley while they hold the line. But Su Yishui refuses to bail, knowing that if she leaves, these guys are as good as dead. A lead bodyguard says the Su family once saved their lives, and now it's time to pay the debt, urging her to run while he promises to call for backup as soon as they can. Someone grabs her arm and starts running, but suddenly a deafening gunshot echoes through the air. The bodyguard takes a bullet for her, sacrificing his life as he drops to the ground. Two thugs appear right in front of her, flashing their weapons and laughing that there's no way she's escaping. Su Yishui clutches her shirt, her eyes still burning with pure determination. As the thugs surround her, one of her remaining guards screams, "What do you think you're doing? Let the young miss go right now." It's clearly an unfair fight, with over a dozen of Wu Laolang's men armed to the teeth. She's only got 3 people left standing with her. It doesn't take long for Wu Laolang's underworld thugs to neutralize her remaining squad. Wu Laolang leans in close, whispering that if she just plays nice and makes him happy, he might let her live. A ponytailed goon from behind reminds the boss that the big shots ordered them to kill Su Yishui on sight. The boss scoffs, thinking that humiliating and tormenting her is an achievement in itself before he does the deed. Out of nowhere, she pulls out a short blade, holding it to her own throat to threaten them. She'd rather die than let them touch her. The thug charges at her, calling her an ungrateful wench, but before his dirty hands can touch her, a sharp flash of steel slices his arm clean off. He looks at her in shock, wondering how the heck she knows how to fight. Even Su Yishui is confused, not knowing when or how her speed and strength spiked so drastically. A memory flashes in her mind of that night with the male lead, where she felt a warm energy flowing through her body. Perhaps that was the catalyst that leveled up her cultivation. Thinking of this, she realizes that if she's become this strong, Yi Fan must be even more of a monster. Could it be that he's actually just playing the fool all this time? Once the goons realized Su Yishui actually had some moves, Old Man Wu ordered his squad to take her out ASAP before things got messy. She held her dagger with trembling hands and shrieked, "Stay back!" The thugs lunged forward and smacked the blade right out of her grip. Facing their murderous intent, she shut her eyes, let the tears flow, and whispered a final goodbye to Yi Fan in her heart. Just as the guy swung his blade down, someone roared, "Wifey, don't be scared. Your man is here to save you." Next thing you know, he pulled off some slick moves, moving so fast you couldn't even see how he wrecked those thugs. He rushed over, pulled Su Yishui into a tight embrace, and asked all worried, "Are you okay? You scared the life out of me." Safe in his warm arms, she asked in a daze, "Is this not a dream?" Cuping his face like he was the most precious treasure, she asked excitedly, "Have you finally recovered?" "Thank goodness, the Yi family is saved." He winced internally, silently apologizing to his wife, because he couldn't let the cat out of the bag just yet. He blinked his big round eyes and asked his wife what on earth she was talking about. While they were having their moment, Old Man Wu was staring them down with cold, murderous eyes. The very next second, he whipped out a piece of heat and barked at his underlings. "End them both right now." Ye Chen narrowed his eyes, staring at him with the cold gaze of a reaper. He flicked his wrist, blade in hand, and charged forward while yelling, "Trying to bully my wife? You guys are total scum!" Their blades clashed, throwing sparks everywhere, as an oppressive energy aura exploded from his body. The enemy stumbled back, and in a flash, he grabbed the guy by the throat and slammed his head into the dirt. Blood sprayed everywhere, and he kept acting crazy while shouting, "That's for trying to bully my wifey." The onlookers watched him slaughter the goons and were left pale and frozen in their tracks. Su Yishui covered her mouth in shock, never expecting him to go this hard. Just then, 2 more guys ran up, and one of them shouted, "Boss, why are you moving so fast?" By the time Li Hu and Wang Fugui arrived, the goons had been beaten to a pulp, lying in a puddle of their own blood. He looked confused, asking what exactly just went down. He wondered to himself, is the boss really about to blow his cover in front of the sister-in-law? That would be a massive disaster, bro. Meanwhile, Su Yishui was shook to her core, thinking he hadn't fully recovered, but had just tapped into his latent power due to his primal instinct to protect her. In the corner, she didn't see him secretly give our boy a thumbs up, thinking truly a pro move, he's real master. He shot him a look that basically said, "Stop fanboying and help me clean up this mess that I can't be seen dealing with." He caught the hint, cleared his throat, grabbed a thug by the collar, and growled, "Who sent you to touch my sister-in-law?" He smiled in satisfaction and thought to himself, "That's more like it." The guy stuttered, green in the face, that the Wang family sent them to take out Miss Su to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. He was just a low-level grunt doing what he was told, begging for his life. His expression turned ice cold as he gritted his teeth, wondering, so the Wang family is also a puppet for the Liu family in the capital? Yi Fan realized that to prevent another Ha family incident and corner the Yi family, the Liu family was making their move again. He clenched his fist, determined that taking out the Zhao family alone wasn't enough. Suddenly, Su Yishui collapsed into his arms, calling his name, Xiao Fan, making him panic as he hugged her and asked, "What's wrong?" She whispered to him to save Captain Zhao's team. He immediately pointed and ordered Wang Fugui to get those guys to the ER. He obediently replied with a quick, "You got it." At the hospital, Zhao Datou was wrapped like a mummy, and as soon as he woke up, he called for the young miss, only to see Yi Fan sitting there. He told him that Yishui was fine and just a little shaken up. He let out a sigh of relief and said, "That's a relief." A moment later it hit him, and seeing him acting normal, he asked, "Wait, you're not brain damaged anymore?" He didn't mind telling him he'd recovered, but reminded him that only a few people knew. He hoped he'd keep this little secret for him. He scrambled up to pay his respects, promising that he would take this secret to the grave. He patted his shoulder to stop him, telling him there was no need for all that. With a flick of his finger, Yi Fan channeled his internal energy to assess the kid's mangled body, deciding he's a loyal soldier and exactly the kind of bodyguard Su Yishui needs. So to show some appreciation, he's going to fast-track the kid's path to becoming a martial arts absolute unit. Our boy unleashed a blinding wave of golden energy right into Zhao Datou's chest, causing those bandages to shatter into a million pieces. His eyes flared gold, and the kid couldn't help but scream out, "It's burning up!" After enduring the heat cooking every single cell in his body, he opened his eyes, stunned to see his injuries were completely gone. Yi Fan dropped the truth. It's common sense, since he's officially leveled up to a martial artist, not some baseline NPC anymore. As of right now, he's officially entered the rankings of top-tier Huaxia elites. Zhao Datou immediately dropped to his knees, kowtowing and thanking Yi Fan for giving him a second life. He swore an oath of eternal loyalty, promising to protect Su Yishui even if it costs him his life. Our boy handed him a bottle of pills and gave him a few instructions. These pills are a stat booster that'll refine his foundation and make his cultivation levels skyrocket. If he keeps doing a good job, there's going to be plenty of loot coming his way. Suddenly, inside the mega mansion, some voices started echoing through the halls. Since the Zhao family got wiped out overnight, they've lost a major partner, and without them, they might never take down the Yi Corporation. Shujian pointed out that the company elders are all Ye Changfeng's loyal dogs, and anyone they try to put in charge ends up being a useless fraud, leaving Dong Jianyi looking salty. "Maybe we should just send someone to off the old man Ye Changfeng and that idiot kid," one suggested. "Word is there's a legendary Grandmaster-level mercenary named Fan going around, so if the price is right, he'll definitely carry the Shu family to victory." Shujian hesitated, wondering if this guy is actually legit, or if he's going to leak their identities to the press. With the Jade Spirit Society and Su Yishui still backing the Yi family, if the cat gets out of the bag, they're going to have a massive headache. The dude promised to keep it on the down low, telling him not to stress. This guy has a top-tier reputation. He'll definitely handle the job and wipe out the competition for good. Right then, our MC walked out of the infirmary and got a system notification for a new mission under his Fan Ye persona. He thought to himself, "Damn, people are already thirsty for his services under this secret identity." Mission objective: delete Yi Changfeng and Yi Fan from the server, with the condition that the client watches the targets die in 4K. Mission accepted. Meet at the Yunsheng Bridge at midnight. Bounty is a cool billion. He started walking with that main character swagger, radiating pure determination. Time to go collect some debts. At the club, the young heir Wang Chao was chilling with two waifus, living his best life. A grunt ran in to report that Wu Lolang's squad got absolutely folded while trying to take out Su Yishui. The whole team was wiped out instantly. Wang Chao lost it, screaming at them for being a bunch of losers who couldn't even handle one woman. He watched the security footage, and it looked like Yi Fan was the one who personally sent Wu Laolang to the Shadow Realm. His face went dark. After seeing the video, he realized Yi Fan wasn't a joke, so he had to double down on attacking the Su family, or he'd have to answer to the big bosses in the city. While his blood was boiling, the door swung open and someone walked right in. Wang Chao roared in anger, "Who do you think you are? Who told you to come in here?" Yi Fan disguised himself as a total scrub, grinning like a fool and saying he's here to apply for a job. Wang Chao slammed the table. "Where is the security? Drag this trash out. Does every random stray dog think they can just stroll in here?" The door creaked open, and Yi Fan stepped aside to show his goons stacked up like a pile of laundry on the floor. Now the guy was actually panicking, jumping up and asking what our boy wanted. Yi Fan patted two of his goons on the shoulder, chilling him out by saying he's only here to help him wreck the Su family. With that, he casually sat down next to him, making Wang Chao instinctively slide away. Yi Fan introduced himself as Fan Ye, and the goons started whispering, confirming he's the Grandmaster tier beast who deleted the Zhao family in one night. Wang Chao scooted closer, stoked, thinking this is actually a massive win for him. "Name your price." Yi Fan demanded 2 billion, confident he'll make the Su Corporation disappear from the map. Wang Chao frowned, thinking 2 billion was a bit steep, considering the whole Wang family net worth was only about 10 billion. Yi Fan stood up, letting his killing intent leak out and crush the room. His expression turned ice cold, and his voice dropped to a menacing growl. You think you can disrespect a Grandmaster-level mercenary by lowballing me? Sweat started pouring down his face like a waterfall, and he stammered, Grandmaster, no! I didn't mean it like that. Frowning deep, Wang Chao started doing some serious math in his head. CEO Liu promised that if they take down the Su family, he'd let the Wang clan take over the reins in Yun City. If he lands that promotion, coughing up 2 billion won't even be a sweat for him. Still, the coward is stressing. What if the Liu family decides to ghost him on the deal? Or worse, what if this Pham Da turns around and treats the Wangs like he treated the Zhao family? He scratches his head, thinking 36 tricks are better than one, so he starts buttering up the Grandmaster, acting like it's a huge honor for the Wang family to even be in his presence. He's ready to run home and raid the family vault, but does our boy look like he's just going to let this rat scurry away? A plastic straw flies across his face like a bullet, pinning him to the ground. He's shaking, pale as a ghost, begging for mercy while clutching his chest. Our boy's voice drops an octave. Knowing your place is a start, rookie. He casually swirls his drink, tosses a glance his way, and drops the bombshell. He's got 10 minutes to cough up the cash. The guy scrambles, shouting, yes, yes, right away. He dials his old man, screaming, Dad, wire 2 billion fast. I needed to hire the Grandmaster Pham Da to protect our family. Before his dad can even ask what the hell is going on, he's already yelling, no questions, just send the money. Meanwhile, our boy is plotting in the shadows, daring to touch his wife Su Yitu yet? Yeah, this guy isn't walking away from this. A few minutes later, the transaction clears, and the guy pipes up, so can I go now? Our boy sighs, acting disappointed. Why so rush, bro? His business is settled. Now it's time for some payback for the main event. Just as the guy asks what he means, our boy decides to rip off the mask and drop the act. The look on the guy's face is pure terror now that he realizes who he messed with. He collapses in a heap, realizing Pham Da and Diep Pham are the same person. The whole thing was just one big lethal prank. Wang Su is literally shivering so hard his teeth are chattering like a machine gun. 5 years ago, Diep Pham was already a peak Grandmaster level beast. After all this time, his power must be off the charts, and here he is, actually trying to pull a hit on the guy's wife. He doesn't even want to imagine his funeral. He's slamming his head on the floor, begging for his life. Please, young Master Deep, have mercy. I was just following orders. If you let me live, I'll be your personal servant for the rest of my miserable life. Our boy's eyes turn cold and sharp. Being a servant? Not interested, but he does need to borrow one thing. The guy thinks he's getting a pardon, promising to give him literally anything he wants. Deep then leans in, a dangerous smirk on his lips, and whispers, I'm here to borrow your life. With one hand, he lifts the guy into the air, a terrifying burst of energy surging through him until he starts coughing blood and drops dead before he can even process the L. The dying guy is still mentally throwing shade. That scumbag Diep Pham, acting like a total clown to trick everyone. I'm taking you down with me. Before he breathes his last, he tries to pull a sneaky move with his phone hidden behind his back. It's a call to none other than Liu Nian. Our boy's eyes are too sharp to miss that pathetic stunt, so he decides to speed up the guy's trip to the afterlife. He grips the guy's throat, and the phone slips from his limp, lifeless hand. A wave of pure energy ripples out, ending Wang Xiu's suffering permanently. Our boy smirks, still trying to pull stunts at a time like this. With a final flick, he crushes the guy's chest, leaving him a blood-spattered mess on the floor. With the boss man deleted, he turns his gaze to the shivering henchman. Alright, who's next? The whole crew instantly folds, begging for their miserable lives. He finishes them off, scrolls through their phones to check for any more leaks, and crushes the screens before walking out like a boss. Meanwhile, Wang Trung gets a text from his son. Daddy, I've been kidnapped. Bring the ransom to Yun Bridge by midnight. He narrows his eyes and hits speed dial on his goons. Mobilize everyone. Ambush Yun Bridge. He wants to see exactly who has the balls to touch his precious son. Back at the hospital, Su Yet opens her eyes, and Diep Pham is right there, hugging her like his life depends on it. You're awake, honey. Thank God. She covers her mouth to stop from screaming, remembering the moment he saved her. He looked like an absolute Chad in that moment. Before she can even breathe, he's tucking her in, telling her the doctor said she's just tired and needs to go home and get some rest. She playfully pinched his cheek while cooing, saying she couldn't head home just yet. The company is developing a new drug. There's a mountain of work to do, but she promised to come back to him as soon as she wraps it up. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Someone on the other end reported that their new formula had been leaked. Their rival company just announced the launch of a new medicine today. Moments later, another person entered the room, heading straight toward her to deliver a status report. He had just received the intel, so he shoved his phone screen right in their faces to watch the live stream together. Li Yangyang, clutching the pill bottle, declared that this beauty supplement was the result of the Li family's years of dedicated research and would show results within a month. Su Yishui frowned in pure rage, cursing under her breath about these scumbags stealing the Su family's hard-earned life's work. She was trembling with fury, tears welling up in her eyes. The Su Corporation had poured all its resources into this research, planning to use it to flip the table and dominate the market. Xiahao realized that with so many big and small companies bullying the Su Corp lately, if this flagship product didn't break the deadlock, the company wouldn't survive for long. Yishui's expression darkened. She wiped her tears away and left the room abruptly, dropping a cold, "I need to go back to the office now. Xiaofan, please bring her back to the Su estate for me." He reached out to stop her, but it seemed like she couldn't care less about him right now. As soon as she left, he pouted. It's just a skincare formula. He could rattle off a recipe from his head that would leave the whole world shook. Xiahao chuckled, but given his current reputation, how could he possibly make Su Yishui believe that? He grew contemplative, realizing the guy was right. In the eyes of everyone else, he was still just the village idiot. Suddenly, he remembered that Yu Linglong mentioned she would invite the divine Dr. Lei Tianjue to treat his condition. That guy is a huge name, but Xiahao worried if he'd actually listen to a word he said. Yi Chen smirked with a dangerous glint in his eye, figuring that part wouldn't be a problem for him at all. Out of nowhere, his phone buzzed. Wu Fei was sobbing uncontrollably, apologizing and begging him for help, leaving him totally confused. He played dumb and asked, "Who's bullying my ex-wife? So tell me, who's bullying you so I can pay them back?" Hearing that, she was even more moved, her eyes misty as she remarked that he was the only one who had ever been truly good to her. She choked out the story. Her second uncle betrothed her to Li Yangyang. The engagement party is tonight, and she begged him to come save her. His expression darkened, and he started monologuing to himself. This Li Yangyang guy again? He already pushed the Ye family to the brink, and now he's trying to force Wu Fei to marry him? He gave a goofy smile and suggested Wu Fei come pick him up. He's going to teach that guy a lesson on her behalf. A while later, Wu Fei and Ye Fan stood in front of a massive mansion. She grabbed his arm to explain, saying the breakup with him the other day was strictly because her second uncle forced her hand. If she didn't obey, they would cut off her father's medical funding, so she didn't have a choice. His brows furrowed slightly. He actually believed she was telling the truth. After all, not long after his accident, Wu Fei's father had a freak incident and became a vegetable. With her second uncle running the Xian family, she was basically forced into a corner. Tears streaming down her face, she insisted that he had been the only one in her heart all these years. Otherwise, she wouldn't have waited for him for 5 whole years. He thought to himself that even if she had no choice, he had other motives for being here, so he might as well just go with the flow. Suddenly, a voice boomed nearby. "The bride is almost here. Young Master Li, get out there and welcome her." His eyes lit up. Wu Fei hurriedly clung to his arm, and he thought to himself that the show was about to start. Li Yangyang walked out clutching a bouquet, surrounded by the praise and admiration of the crowd. He was recently adopted into the Liu family and was winning at both career and love, so he figured Xian Wu Fei should be honored he was even looking at her. With a smug look, he squinted his eyes, feeling pretty full of himself. Xian Wu Fei's family background wasn't anything to sneeze at either. Once he manipulated her family's assets, the Liu family wouldn't be anything special in comparison. Tonight that gorgeous body would finally be his. Right when he was busy daydreaming, Wu Fei stepped up, declaring she had something she needed to make clear to him. Li Yangyang was shocked to see her holding Yi Fan's arm and couldn't help but shout his name. He immediately put on an angry face, demanding to know why she brought this fool here. Just then, a familiar figure appeared. The guy told Yangyang that he shouldn't be talking like that. Wang Fuqiang pointed a finger and barked, "Either you call my big brother Young Master Yi or Brother Fan, or if I hear you call him a fool one more time, I'm gonna face slap you into next week." He barked back, asking if the kid really thought his big brother was still the legendary Yi Feng of the golden days. The Yi family is down to one geezer, and this village idiot, both of them, will be joining their ancestors in the underworld real soon. Our boy just couldn't hold back the urge to slap that smirk off his face. And with one swift strike, that fraud's face went crooked. Li Yuyang went full meltdown mode, screaming, "Wang Fugui, are you actually insane enough to hit me? Where are my guards?" He roared, "You piece of trash. You don't even have a drop of true martial energy in your veins, yet you're acting all high and mighty?" Just then, Xiahao stepped in with his crew, trying to play peacemaker. "Easy there, young Master Li. Let's not throw hands on such a happy day." Seeing the old man's fake, harmless smile, Yifan thought to himself, the heavy hitters from the Xia and Hu families are here. What kind of scheme is Xuan Yufei cooking up? She's just a house cat lady who never leaves her room. How could she possibly be connected to such high-level players? She stayed cold, taking the lead. "Stop wasting time here. Since all the guests are present, let's head inside and settle this." Li Yuyang's face darkened as he hissed a warning. "Xuan Yufei, you'd better know exactly what kind of fire you're playing with." Walking into the grand hall through a sea of guests, Xuan Yufei marched in, side by side with Yi Fan. The whispers started instantly. The bride is here? Isn't this supposed to be her engagement party with young Master Li? Why is she walking with that idiot from the Yi family instead? People started whispering that she was basically cheating on young Master Li in a broad daylight. The Li family's reputation is officially in the dumpster now. This is absolute peak cinema. Everyone is ready to watch the drama unfold between the Xuan and Li families. Li Yuyang's dad was shaking with rage, veins popping as he confronted Xianxia. What the hell is the meaning of this? Didn't you promise me everything was handled perfectly? The old man stuttered, caught completely off guard. I honestly have no idea what is even happening right now. He rushed over to his precious niece, fuming. What kind of crazy stunt are you pulling here? Her icy, dead stare shook him for a second, but he quickly regained his arrogant composure and ordered her to apologize and play the ignorant girl card. But she grabbed Yi Fan's hand in front of everyone and dropped the bomb. The previous engagement cancellation was entirely her uncle's doing. She never agreed to it, gripping Yi Fan's hand tight and raising it high so the whole crowd could hear her loud and clear. Yi Fan and I are childhood sweethearts. We grew up together. He is the only man I will ever call my husband, and I hope everyone here can give us their blessing. Yi Fan felt a deep, hollow sadness inside. If she had been this brave back at the funeral, things wouldn't have gone to absolute hell. Li Yuyang finally snapped, his face twisted in pure, unadulterated rage as his blood boiled. This is our engagement party, and you're standing there asking for blessings for you and some other guy? The crowd started buzzing with relentless gossip. This was a massive, unexpected plot twist. Didn't she cancel the engagement yesterday and announce it void today? The Xuan family is rotting from the inside. Maybe the tragedy with their family head was planned all along. At the end of the day, she brought another man to her own engagement party just to show off their chemistry. The Li family is taking a massive L today. Li Yuyang's dad smashed his wine glass in a rage, pointing at Xianxia and demanding a real explanation, or else things were going to get ugly. The old man turned ghostly pale, waving his hands frantically. It's a misunderstanding. Just let me handle this. He turned to his ignorant niece and shouted, Do you have any idea how much trouble you're bringing on the entire Xuan family? She hugged Yi Fan's arm tighter, confirming she had thought this through and was fully committed. If she listened to her uncle and married a wolf in sheep's clothing like Li Yuyang, her entire life would be a tragedy. Turning Yi Fan to face her, she sincerely told the crowd, I brought him here today so everyone knows the truth. Even if he stays an idiot for the rest of his life, I will love and protect him forever. Her eyes welled up with tears, while Yi Fan just thought to himself that she was clearly just trying to climb the social ladder through him. It's a shame that for him, it's already way too late. Li Yuyang called in more goons, screaming that she was a shameless woman. If I don't teach these two adulterers a lesson today, the Li family's pride will be gone, and we won't be able to show our faces in this city ever again. Li Yuyang's face was pulsing with rage as he demanded justice. I've been nothing but good to her, yet she chooses to follow that idiot Yi Fan. While he was busy running his mouth, Wang Fuqi got tired of his voice and sent him flying to the ground with one punch. He adjusted his gloves and asked, Didn't he warn this clown earlier? Every time he hears someone call his big brother a fool, that person is getting hands-on lessons until they learn some respect. Li Te clenched his fists and roared his full name, trying to act like a big shot. Even old Wang has to show some respect to him, so what makes a bottom feeder like you think you can touch his son? With that, he ordered his goons to rush in and teach our boy a lesson. Wei Fan's expression turned ice-cold. He knew there were plenty of martial arts masters here, and worried Fuqi wouldn't be able to hold them off alone. Just as he was debating whether to step in, Li Hu appeared to mediate the situation. Why resort to violence when you could just talk it out? Have you never heard of being civilized? Li and his son looked gray, wondering how he could say the word civilized without choking on the irony. Immediately, his subordinates whipped out advanced machine guns, aiming the black barrels straight at the Li family, proving that in Yun City, he decides exactly how civilized things get. Seeing he was staring down the barrel of a gun, old Li knew when to fold and muttered, Fine, you guys win this one. Li Hu switched to a respectful tone, turned to Yi Fan, and gestured, Young Master Yi, let's head out. Xuan Yufei looked at him in awe. Even if he acts like a fool, he still attracts such powerful figures. She didn't choose wrong. As the two prepared to leave, Xianxia suddenly grabbed her arm. Wait, don't leave just yet. With a sinister glint in his eyes, he shoved his phone in her face, telling her to take a good look at her dad in the hospital before making any final moves. In the video, her father was struggling in pain as someone yanked out his oxygen tube. She panicked and shrieked, Uncle, what do you think you're doing? He smirked maliciously, claiming that she was the one who forced his hand. He explained it was a special poison, ensuring her father would never wake up again. If she wanted him to stay in a vegetative state forever, then go ahead and follow that idiot Yi Fan. She sobbed, crying out that he was his own biological brother. Watching her collapse on the floor, he asked with cold-blooded indifference, So what if he is? Ever since the old man at home handed the company to his big brother, he's been waiting for this moment. Today, it was finally his turn to take the throne. He turned around, giving her 10 seconds to think, return, apologize, and accept the marriage proposal to young Master Li. Otherwise, before he could finish, she snapped at him for being a total piece of trash. She looked at Yi Fan with desperate eyes, and while he was waiting for her choice, he could only play dumb and ask, what's wrong? Li Yangyang stepped up, sneered, and said, an idiot like you actually dares to dream of a goddess like Shen Yufei? He lunged forward, wanting to settle the score, thinking that from this distance Wang Fuqi couldn't stop him, and a fool like Yi Fan definitely couldn't fight back. He was going to beat some sense into him today, but Shen Yufei stepped in front of him, shouting a challenge. Just try touching a single hair on his head. He roared back, saying there's nothing he doesn't dare to do. This idiot ruined his engagement party, and he was going to make him pay in blood. He had been stressing over how to deal with the Ye family anyway. Hearing that, Yi Fan realized this guy's goal was to take down his family from the start. Suddenly, Xiahao and Wang Fuqi rushed to the front, shielding him and cursing the guy for being arrogant. But Yi Fan signaled them to back off. He was going to handle this trash himself. He clenched his fists and walked forward, radiating an intense killing intent. He knew it was the perfect time to make the Li family and their cronies absolutely terrified. Li Yangyang, having a death wish, charged forward and roared. You fool, let me help you reunite with your short-lived brother in the afterlife. Shen Yufei frantically blocked his path and screamed, Don't! Meanwhile, Yi Fan just clapped his hands and giggled. It's so good to see my brother. Young Master Li is so kind and generous. Seeing him charge forward, she shrieked in absolute terror. Brother Fan! Wang Fuqi was ready to throw hands to protect him, but Xiahao held him back, telling him to wait and see the show. By now, the young master's fist was inches away from Yi Fan's face, his eyes burning with a sadistic, bloodthirsty glare. Yi Fan casually caught Li Yunyang's wrist midair and cheekily asked if he was trying to help him fix his nose. The grip felt like nothing to the crowd, but only the young master felt a bone-crushing agony as a mysterious force scorched his internal organs. His face turned pale as a sheet, his internal monologue screaming, What on earth is happening? When Yi Fan finally let go, the guy stumbled back, trembling and demanding to know what he just did. Yi Fan played the classic who me card, asking if he was just complaining about a mosquito bite. Clutching his arm while the pain radiated deep into his marrow, the young master snapped, telling him to quit the act. As he spoke, he rolled up his sleeve, but all he found was a tiny, harmless-looking red mark. He stood there stunned. What kind of black magic was this? Yet he could clearly feel his entire arm feeling like it was about to shatter into dust. Yi Fan's tall with his hands on his hips, smirking internally. It's not just a broken arm. My hidden needle technique is currently shredding his insides with pure fire energy. The young master gritted his teeth, ready to charge again and end Yi Fan's life. Yi Fan immediately ducked behind Xuanfei, crying out for protection like a damsel in distress. Xuanfei, confused as ever, started roasting the young master for having zero shame. She shouted that Brother Fan was already in this state, yet the guy was still trying to frame him. Old Man Li stepped in, telling him to chill out. It's his engagement party. Don't go staining his hands with blood. At that exact moment, Donghua caught the signal and lunged toward Xuanfei Yu, demanding she make a choice right now. Time's up. The 10-second timer expired, and this time she stood her ground, refusing to go through with the marriage. She truly believed Yi Fan was the only one who could save her. Her second uncle leaned in with a sinister smile, warning her that a death trap was already set. If she kept acting stubborn, Yi Fan would be a dead man by tonight. Her eyes went wide as she begged him not to drag Yi Fan into this mess. She collapsed to her knees, weeping uncontrollably as her spirit finally broke. She surrendered, agreeing to the marriage as long as he left the others alone. The uncle held his phone high, grinning like a shark. See? Would have been a lot easier if you just listened from the start. Now go tell the guests that everything is perfectly fine. Before walking away, she turned back to look at Yi Fan with tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Brother Fan. I honestly have no other choice. She then turned to Wang Fuqi and whispered, Get Brother Fan out of here. I'll make sure Li Yunyang doesn't lay a finger on him. Wang Fuqi sighed, calling her sister-in-law one last time. Why do you have to make things so hard for yourself? Her eyes dimmed, feeling like she just wasn't destined to be with him. Xiahao watched her leave and asked Yi Fan what the play was now. Yi Fan suddenly stood up and pointed straight at the young master, dropping a bombshell. That young Master Li over there has a terminal illness. He's literally incapable of having a wife. The guy exploded in a fit of rage. What the hell? You're the one with the disease. Your whole family has a disease. Security, get these losers out of my face right now. Yi Fan started walking away, acting like a troll. What a total buzzkill. Someone here is literally about to drop dead anyway. The young master glared at his back, teeth grinding, but he couldn't do a single thing. Donghua figured Yi Fan was just a clown talking nonsense. It was just a few petty insults, nothing more. Wang Fuqi caught up to him and asked, We're really just gonna walk away like that? He felt like the situation with his ex-sister-in-law was just too tragic. But Xiahao had a gut feeling that there was way more to this than met the eye, especially with Yi Fan's true strength. Thinking about it made him shudder, afraid to even imagine how ruthless Yi Fan's next move would be. Back in the ballroom, Li Yunyang and Xuan Feiyu took the stage, where she proceeded to play the part of the one who made a mistake. Today is the engagement party for the two of them. Meanwhile, Wang Fuqi is still seething with rage, hands balled into fists, waiting for the signal. All he needs is a word from our boy, and he'll rush back to the Qin family to wreck Li Yuyang and bring back sister-in-law Wu Fei. But Yi Fan just holds up his hand and starts a 3-second countdown. The moment he hits one, the guy turns ghostly pale, his microphone slipping out of his trembling hands and crashing to the floor. The next second, he hits the deck, foaming at the mouth, causing Wu Fei to scream in total terror. Old Man Yang rushes over to cradle his son, panicking and asking, "What's wrong with you? Where is everyone? Call an ambulance, fast." Then, Xianxia scurries over to check his pulse, only to panic and conclude that the guy has stopped breathing. Standing outside the grand entrance, Yi Fan clenches his fist, his eyes sharp as he zeroes in on the target. Wu Fei looks toward him. She whispers his name in her heart, and he gives her a subtle smile, flashing a secret okay sign. Walking away, Yi Fan quietly analyzes why Shan Wu Fei was acting so submissive today. It's obvious someone is pulling the strings behind the scenes. Whether it's for her dad or the Yi family, he's definitely going to find a way to save her. Just then, that clown Wang Fuqi jumps on him, excitedly asking, "So, are you finally acting like your old self? Tell me the truth. I promise I won't tell a soul." Yi Fan mutters to himself, this guy seriously has zero filter. He snaps back in annoyance. "Why are you so obsessed with asking if I'm awake? It's broad daylight. I've been wide awake this whole time." He shoves him away, grumpily telling him to back off and stop getting him heated up. In his mind, he's begging the guy to scram already, so he can actually get to work saving people. Wang Fuqi refuses to let it go, grabbing his arm and insisting that since Yi Fan counted down before Li Yuyang bit the dust, he doesn't need to play the fool anymore. Using mental focus, Yi Fan signals Xiahao to start digging into Xianxia, Wu Fei's father. The guy gets the message instantly and nods. Xiahao orders Li Hu to investigate the current status of Xianxia immediately. While bowing his head in obedience, Li Hu thinks to himself that a smart guy like Boss Xia wouldn't be working for a total idiot. Maybe the young master had planned this all along. He looks at the three of them bickering and reminds himself to treat Yi Fan like a living deity from now on. Not long after, Boss Xia gets the report back. Xianxia is at the Third People's Hospital, so let's head there first. All four of them pile into the car, and Wang Fuqi, being his usual clueless self, asks why Boss Xia is being so incredibly nice to his big brother's former father-in-law. Before he can answer, the kid blabs, "Don't tell me you have a crush on Wu Fei. Don't make me have to beat you up." Yi Fan is left speechless, not even knowing how to respond to that nonsense. Boss Xia can't exactly reveal that this was a mission from Brother Yi, so he just has to bite the bullet and take the heat. Just then, Li Hu reports that he just got confirmation. Li Yuyang is officially dead. The engagement between the Xian and Li families is now null and void. Worried that Xian Wufei might use this opportunity to seize power, Xianxia secretly sends men to move Xianxia out of the hospital. Wang Fuqi's expression turns sour instantly. Even at a time like this, that old geezer still wants to manipulate his former sister-in-law. Does he not want to let her go? Xiahao tells him to chill, as he's already sent men to stall them. Yi Fan already saw this coming. He knew Xianxia wouldn't easily give up his ace in the hole, so now it's just a game of who's the better chess player. At the hospital, Wang Fuqi's group arrives at Xianxinhua's room, only to be blocked. The guards tell them they aren't worth a damn. Without an order from CEO Xian, nobody is allowed to take Xianxinhua anywhere. Wang Fuqi puts on an intimidating display, pointing his finger right in their faces. Are they looking to die? They're actually bullying his big brother's father-in-law. The guard talks back, saying that since they are defying CEO Xian's orders, they're the ones really looking for a death wish. Wang Fuqi immediately beats those bottom feeders into a pulp. Watching the scene, Xiahao thinks to himself that even the goofball following Yi Fan is someone not to be trifled with. Seizing the moment, Yi Fan slips into the patient's room and shuts everyone else out. By the time Wang Fuqi realizes what happened, he's left frantically pounding on the door, asking what's going on. "Big boss, why are you keeping us locked out here?" Inside the hospital room, Yi Fan stood right next to Xianxinhua. The guy used to be the head of the Xuan family, but now he's hooked up to so many medical machines just to keep his heart beating. Our boy quickly checked his pulse and scanned him with his medical expertise. He concluded that the old man had 17 different types of toxins in his system. Whoever did this is a total menace to society. Yi Fan's face darkened, confirming his worst suspicions. That accident back then was definitely a setup, but the physical injuries weren't even that bad. The real reason he's been in a coma is this cocktail of 17 different poisons. The worst part is that with these toxins, one wrong move during the detox, and the old man is checking out permanently. He pulled out a silver needle, confident that the ancient inheritance from the jade pendant meant this little puzzle wouldn't be a problem for him. Instantly, he started acupuncture on the old man's pressure points, sealing off his energy flow and making his veins light up with a glowing aura. The next second, his god-tier medical techniques forced the toxins out, with black blood dripping from the old man's fingertips onto the floor. Not long after, the old man stirred awake, frowning as he faintly whispered Yifan's name. "Little Fan." Just as he was about to explain, a loud shout came from outside. "Military operation in progress. Everyone else, get lost." Yifan furrowed his brows. Why is the military sticking their noses into this business? Major Guofei of the Yuncheng military marched in with his armed squad, shouting, "Clear the way, everyone." Li Hu stepped up to block them, warning, "This is a private hospital. Without the young master's order, nobody is allowed to enter this room." Immediately, two soldiers pointed their guns at him, snarling, "You're literally begging for death, old man." Li Hu stood his ground, saying if they couldn't produce proper documents, there was no way he was letting them pass. The major frowned. He was only doing this for a small favor from Xianxia. He wasn't trying to actually get killed. He put on a fake confident act, barking, "This is a top-secret military mission. If you don't move, don't blame us if the bullets start flying." Li Hu waved his hand, telling his boys to grab their weapons and prepare for a showdown. He really wanted to see how arrogant these military goons could actually be. Just then, Yifan walked out, playing dumb. "Whoa, why are there so many soldiers here?" He walked up to a guy holding an assault rifle, looking totally mesmerized.
"Is this a real gun?"
The soldier was so annoyed his veins were popping. "Do you want to die?" "Get lost!" Yifan stumbled like a total klutz, intentionally dropping a coin on the floor. Guofei had sharp eyes and caught a glimpse of the coin hitting the ground, frowning because it looked strangely familiar. One of his men picked it up, looking at the engraving, a turtle symbol with 4 gold stars. The guy had no idea what it meant, so he just tossed it into a nearby trash can, assuming an idiot like Yifan just found it in a dumpster. Suddenly, Guofei panicked and lunged forward to grab the coin. He dove to scoop it up, realizing this was the command token of one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Xuanwu military district, a 4-star general's rank, capable of commanding 1,000,000 soldiers across 8 provinces. Seeing him lose his cool and throw his image away for a coin, the squad was confused. The guy who threw it away stepped up and asked, "Boss, what's wrong? Isn't that just a toy for an idiot?" Guofei realized in horror that this dropped out of Yifan's pocket. He looked at Yifan, questioning his sanity. Could this idiot actually be one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Xuanwu district? He immediately screamed at his subordinates, "Kneel down!" The others were left stunned, wondering what was wrong with their boss. He performed a deep kowtow, begging for mercy for his mortal sins. The others quickly knelt down too, and even though they were confused, they chanted along, "We deserve death." Yifan curled his lips in satisfaction, but immediately went back to acting like a clueless buffoon. "Why is everyone kneeling? Is it New Year's already? That's way too early. Get up! Get up!" Guofei, still shaking, held the token out with both hands, pleading, "We didn't know it was you, Heavenly King. Please forgive us." Yifan took the token back and asked, "You really want to give this back to me? It's shiny and gold. Looks like it's worth a lot of money, huh?" He leaned in close to whisper a warning, "Make sure you keep this a secret, otherwise bad guys might come and steal my gold." Hearing that, Guofei just stared blankly, wondering, is this guy actually a genius playing dumb, or is he actually just a complete loon? But facing his intense, suffocating glare, the poor guy started sweating buckets. He gritted his teeth, suppressing his fear, and realized Yifan wasn't stupid at all. He was just playing the fool. Only then did he dare to stand, bowing deeply to ask for permission to leave, promising to follow every order. Yifan waved his hand, telling the soldiers to take it easy. Before heading out, the guy whispered a warning, "Keep an eye on Xianxia." Yifan had already clocked it. Today's whole mess definitely involved Xuan Yufei's uncle. Wang Fuqi saw the guy leave and rushed over, pointing at the mysterious token in Yifan's hand. "Is this thing actually yours? With this in your hand, you could literally rule the world, bro." Yifan immediately shifted into defense mode. "Are you trying to steal my gold, kid?" "No way, I'm not giving it to you." Even when he begged just to take a look, Yifan acted like a total child and refused. Meanwhile, Xianxia had woken up. Having heard everything through the door, he was so mad he slapped his own forehead, cursing his trash brother for driving away such a top-tier son-in-law like Yifan. Holding on to him was the only lifeline for the Xuan family, and the only chance for Yufei's lifelong happiness. Recalling the earlier events, he remembered Yifan warning him that the situation was complicated. He had to pretend to stay in a coma even in front of Yufei, but he was stressing about how to guide his daughter. Right on cue, Yufei's voice rang out from outside. "How is my father doing?" He smirked, knowing his daughter had arrived. Seeing the 2 men at the door, Yufei panicked and asked, "What happened to my dad?" Wang Fuqi spoke up for Yifan. "Don't worry, sis-in-law. Brother Fan already kicked Xuanzhengguo's goons to the curb. She looked at Yi Fan with gratitude, thinking, he helped me again? Without thinking, she threw herself onto him, but he quickly shoved her away and scolded, shameless. If Yi Xue sees this, she's gonna be pissed. She fell to the floor and sobbed, finally facing the cold, hard truth. She wasn't his wife anymore, and she blamed herself for being too weak, hurting him over and over again. She really wasn't good enough for him. Wang Fuqi couldn't stand seeing her cry, so he stepped in to play the nice guy. Don't beat yourself up like that, ex-sis-in-law. Suddenly, she swore an oath that she would always be his woman, no matter what. Yi Fan played it cool, laughing off the idea. Yi Xue already told me she wants a cute little baby with me. She felt like she'd been struck by lightning, asking, wait, you two have already? But then she smirked, took his hand and placed it on her chest, asserting her dominance. Whatever they can do, I can do too. Right then, Su Yixue appeared, looking absolutely furious as she called his name.
Xiaofan.
He jumped, sweating like he'd just run a marathon. He knew he was officially cooked. Dragging Yi Fan toward her, Yixue dropped the hammer. I know exactly what just went down. She's a toxic snake who ditched you at the altar, and then had the audacity to betray you in front of everyone. You've got 7 wives who actually love you. Why would you waste your time on a basic NPC like her? When the girl tried to explain, Yixue shut her down immediately, telling her to beat it. Sister Linglong is coming back soon, and she won't be as polite as I am. Hearing that, she stood her ground. Fine, I get it, but I'm gonna make everyone change their opinion of me. I'll be back for Brother Fan sooner than you think. After Xuan Yufei left, Ye Fan looked at Yixue and asked, is Big Sister Linglong really coming back? She shot him a death glare and pinched his face, saying, yeah, and once she brings the medical saint back to fix you, let's see if you dare to flirt with other girls again. Yufan let out a pathetic cry, ouch, that hurts. Deep down, he realized that with Lei Tianzhui back, he could finally use a legitimate excuse to get the cure for Yixue's company. At dusk at the airport, Yifan was pacing around, anxious to pick up his head wife, Linglong. He looked like a total goof, constantly asking, when is my wife finally landing? Hao ordered everyone to stay sharp, suspecting that plenty of people don't want Yifan to recover, and might ambush him or the old man Lei. Wang Fuqi asked like a total noob. Old man Lei is a VIP handpicked by the emperor himself. Do those clowns actually have the guts to mess with him? Li Hu immediately snapped him back to reality with some top-secret intel. According to my latest report, there are over 30 high-level assassins here, and some of them are absolute monsters, way beyond standard martial artists. Our boy panicked a little, thinking, they're really that cracked? In that case, even if all of us dogpiled them, we wouldn't stand a chance. Listening to them, our MC thought to himself, being the only carry isn't enough. I definitely need to recruit and train some actual support units. He shot a signal to Hao, who instantly caught his drift. He ordered Li Hu to clear out all the small fry NPCs first. As for the ones he can't touch yet, he'll find another way to deal with them. Meanwhile, our boy scanned the flight arrival board, his eyes narrowing with a sharp, calculated glint. In a dark corner, an ugly fat guy reported that they'd lost contact with most of their team. Looks like the Ha family wiped them all out. The guy in glasses asked, so how many actual combat-ready units do we have left? The fat guy scratched his head and admitted that, counting himself and the skinny one, there were only 3 left. Glasses went full villain mode, slapped him across the face, and called him a pathetic loser. Is this what I taught you trash-tier bots to do on a daily basis? The guy clutched his face, begging the big boss to calm down. Glasses stared at the info board and realized it was already too late. Lei Tianzhui is about to touch down. Glasses ordered the fat and skinny goons to intercept Yi Fan's squad, while he handles Lei Tianzhui personally. With a menacing look, he declared that the elders ordered him to stop Lei Tianzhui at all costs. Back at the airport, Yu Linglong arrived, accompanied by an old man with absolute main character energy. Glasses saw them and figured that since Lei Tianzhui is a national-level master, a little intimidation should be enough to make him back off. If the old man still insists on saving Yifan, then he's getting perma-banned, no exceptions. Yifan spotted his familiar-looking wife and pointed her out to the others. Suddenly, the fat and skinny goon stepped up to harass Wang Fuqi. You guys have some serious main character syndrome if you think you can ruin my plans. Wang Fuqi frowned. Before he could even identify these NPCs, the fat guy lunged with a heavy punch. Wang Fuqi barely dodged it, thinking what a dirty move, a literal sneak attack. I've got to admit, this fat guy hits like a truck. A single punch from him smashed a massive hole right through a concrete pillar. If that punch had landed on our boy's face, it would have been game over. His expression darkened as he realized, this guy is a master martial arts. How is he this close to my level? Before he could recover, the skinny swarmed in, and after dodging a kick, he had to tank another hit from the fat guy, barely staying on his feet. Hao rushed over and asked, you good, bro? Our boy coldly huffed and said he was fine. Glancing at the 2 thugs, he thought, a 2v1 against martial arts elites. Looks like this boss fight is going to drain my stamina. Glasses thought that just deleting Hao and Wang Fuqi would be enough to win. A brainless idiot like Yi Fan isn't worth his time, yet our MC actively walked up to start a fight. Give me back my teddy bear, you creep. At the same time, the fat guy let out a manic laugh, thirsty to delete Wang Fuchi from the server. Stuck in a defensive state, our boy could only cross his arms to tank the damage. Yi Fan's eyes flashed with icy intent as he flicked something at the fat guy's shoulder, distracting him. The guy turned pale as he realized his body was completely paralyzed. Wang Fuchi, sharp as ever, noticed the enemy's debuff and decided this was the perfect window to land a heavy strike. He sent the fat guy flying with a critical hit, wondering if his overlord punch was so cracked that it literally stunned the enemy in fear. The skinny guy in the back watched the scene, mouth agape, completely terrified. His worldview just collapsed. He couldn't believe his eyes. He thought they were all roughly the same rank. Our boy gave the skinny guy a creepy psychological horror smile, scaring him so bad he practically soiled himself. Stay back. After some light stretching, that skinny loser was already sprawled on the floor in a pool of his own blood, his face swollen like a balloon and his teeth scattered everywhere. Wang Fuchi brushed off his hands in satisfaction, feeling like he's just built different. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice shouting nearby, "Hey, someone stole my teddy bear!" Yi Fan's eyes were filled with fake tears, acting pathetic while refusing to let go of the guy. "You can't leave, give my teddy bear back right now." A crowd of onlookers at the airport gathered around, pointing fingers at him. "Have you no shame? You look all civilized with those glasses, yet you're out here robbing a child?" He dodged the crowd's harassment while cursing internally. "Are you idiots blind? When did I ever steal your stupid teddy bear? What kind of situation is this?" He decided he had no time for these NPCs, figuring he just needed to link up with his team, break through Yu Linglong's defenses, and take out Lei Tianjue. His top priority was ditching Yi Fan, so he immediately activated his movement technique, soaring into the air like a pro. This was his signature high-speed escape skill, but before he could even celebrate, he heard that familiar voice again. "Give my bear back." He turned around in shock to find Yi Fan right behind him, wondering what kind of black magic this was. Yi Fan flashed a harmless, goofy smile and asked, "Why are you running away? Did you do something guilty, bro?" He stared at two people approaching, reminding himself not to get distracted because he was about to catch Lei Tianjue. Just as he lunged forward to call out to Mr. Lei, a hand grabbed him, sending him face-planting into the ground. Yi Fan stayed in his goofy mode, squatting down and saying, "Caught you! Now hurry up and give back my bear." Yu Linglong's eyes went wide as she asked in confusion, "Brother Fan, why are you here?" The bespectacled guy got back up, grabbed Yi Fan's shoulder, and started venting to his main wife. "He stole my bear," he shouted in a rage. "Get lost, I don't have any of your damn teddy bears." Yu Linglong squinted at him, sensing that something was definitely off. Yi Fan insisted that this guy definitely snatched his toy and demanded it back immediately. The guy with glasses was losing his mind, thinking that since his bosses didn't want Lei Tianjue to heal Yi Fan, he might as well just end him right here. He started channeling his energy to strike, telling himself that even if he couldn't kill him, crippling this guy would be a massive win. Yi Fan saw the palm strike coming but didn't even try to dodge, just kept screaming, "Give my bear back, you shameless fraud." The energy blast landed right on him, but his body absorbed it and converted it into pure power, leaving the assassin panicking. What is happening right now? His energy blast didn't even scratch him, and in that same second, Yi Fan grabbed his wrist with a blank expression saying, "Bad people have to be punished." At that exact moment, the assassin screamed, "What?" With his wrist crushed, he felt excruciating pain and noticed his cultivation base rapidly spiraling downward. He didn't know why, but he felt like a total scrub, dropping from a grandmaster level down to a basic amateur. He shouted, questioning him, "What the hell did you do to me?" Right then, Yu Linglong unleashed a powerful punch, her face full of absolute rage. "You think you can touch my man and get away with it?" She landed a clean hit, and the guy pointed at her, trembling. "Do you have any idea who is backing me up?" He had a plan to retreat for now, thinking he'd come back for revenge later once he secured his safety. But before he could even think about his escape, she smashed him into the ground, sending him spitting out a mouthful of red syrup. Looking at her own fist, she wondered, did I really just kill him with just a casual punch? Seeing her confused, Yi Fan figured it out. The guy's cultivation had already been drained, so he was basically a weakling now. No way he could survive a punch from a goddess-tier wife. Lei Tianjue sighed, noting that it seemed like half the martial arts world wanted the Ye family gone. Just then, a deep, ominous voice hissed in his ear with extreme malice. "You'd better leave Yun City immediately, old man, or we'll be forced to send you to your grave early." Yu Linglong shouted a warning, "Master Lei, watch out." He flicked his wrist, revealing a terrifying aura, and smirked coldly. "You trashy nobodies want to teach me how to do my job?" He struck back, declaring that the Yi family's suffering was all caused by these low-life scum. The assassin lunged with a poisoned blade, cursing, "Since you won't listen, old man, don't blame me for your own funeral." Seeing the weird color on the blade, he dodged it with ease. He knew the blade was poisoned, but the assassin went full psycho, screaming, "You still think you can dodge? Not happening, pal! Light-shattering rain descended, and the old man's face turned ashen. He gritted his teeth in terror, realizing he was toast at this speed. Yu Linglong lunged forward to save the old man, but seeing it was a lost cause, she was mostly terrified that Yi Fan's only hope for a cure was about to go up in smoke. At the 11th hour, our boy Yi Fan seemed to get shoved by a ghost, slapped his palm toward the assassin, and screamed, "Who the heck just pushed me? That hurt like crazy, bro." Seizing the opening, Old Lei moved behind the assassin and unleashed a technique. The guy's body erupted in purple light as he stared wide-eyed and shrieked, "No, don't!" The next second, the assassin coughed up blood, thinking, is this the legendary star-shifting technique? Watching the guy drop dead instantly, Old Lei was shook, wondering, was this dude really the secret ace sent to take me out? He really just folded that easily? As the assassin's soul began to dissipate, Yi Fan just poked him and laughed like a clown. "Yo, you done playing dead yet, dummy?" Watching the goofy display, the old man realized the truth. It was definitely Yi Fan who landed that shot earlier. Suddenly, a hand grabbed Yi Fan's ear and yanked him into Yu Linglong's arms for an interrogation. "You awake now, or are you still trying to scam this lady?" Yi Fan howled in pain, thinking, "Welp, it's game over for me now. This girl isn't as easy to trick as Suyushui." Playing the fool, Yi Fan kissed Yu Linglong on the neck while still fake crying about his ear. He hugged her tight and asked like a confused puppy, "Big wifey, didn't you come home to sleep with me? Why are you pulling my ear like that?" She blushed deep red and told him to pipe down in public. Internally, she was fuming. Can this absolute brain-dead loser really say that kind of stuff out loud? She then dragged him over to Lei Tianjui to ask for a favor. "This is my husband. I hope you can help him out, Elder Lei." Lei suggested finding a quiet place first so he could check the kid's pulse. That night at Yi Fan's place, the old master sat across from the lead and politely asked, "Young Master Yi, mind letting me check your pulse?" Seeing him drag his feet, the old man tried to coax him. "Be a good boy. I'll give you a piece of candy in a bit." Yi Fan's hand shot out to grab the old man's wrist, diagnosing him. "Heartbeat's too fast. You've been sleep-deprived lately, and you hit the booze last night at midnight, didn't you?" The old man raised an eyebrow in total shock. "How do you know all that? Wait, you're not actually slow in the head, are you?" Yi Fan stopped playing games and kept it 100 with him. "Yep, I've been awake for a while now. Just didn't want to expose myself to the normies." Lei Tianjui finally confirmed that the hero who saved him at the airport was indeed Yi Fan. When the rain of projectiles hit, Yi Fan had used the legendary stars-shifting technique that everyone in the world is dying to learn. Sitting with his arms crossed, Yi Fan laid his cards on the table. "I've got 2 things I need your help with." Lei Tianjui was stunned. A guy with martial arts skills this broken and medical knowledge this cracked, what could he possibly need help with? Yi Fan spilled the tea. Right now, only Xiahao knows his real identity, making it a pain to move around, so he needs the old man's influence. The old man didn't hesitate to say yes. "Yi Changfeng and I go way back. If I can help his legacy, I'm all in." Yi Fan first brought up the beauty formula that Su Yishui's company lost to corporate thieves. He wanted to use the old man to get a new formula into her hands. Lei looked a bit awkward, admitting he didn't have any top-tier beauty recipes on him. Yi Fan pulled out a prescription he'd prepped, shoved it in front of him, and said, "Don't worry, I've got you covered." As he wrote it out, he explained, "This is a lost recipe from the Shenong medical texts. When you brew this, keep the temp at exactly 323 degrees for exactly 8 minutes." The old man read the list, eyes bulging. These were basic herbs, but this combination was something he'd never seen in his life. He slapped his thigh in excitement, realizing how absolute genius this was. After practicing medicine for so many years, seeing a prescription like this made his whole life worth it. He excitedly bowed to Yi Fan and asked for instructions. "Is there anything else you need me to do?" Whatever Yi Fan orders, he's not saying no. He was basically trading his status just to get a chance to study this formula with Yi Fan. Wei Fan helped him up and said, "No need to be so formal, Elder Lei. The only thing left now is to get him to pull all the stops to nurse my grandfather back to health." The old man hesitated, saying he was afraid that might be impossible. With a heavy sigh, he explained that ever since Yi Changfeng was young, he'd been treating him and found he had an underlying condition. Plus the recent trauma. His body just can't hold on much longer. "So you're saying you're just incompetent?" "Nah, you've done all you could, Doc. Right now, saving my grandfather requires methods way beyond modern medicine." The old man was baffled, asking if I possessed some kind of legendary lost medical manual. I told him straight up, "I can teach you a needle technique that'll extend my grandfather's life by at least 20 years. I whipped out my silver needles and told him to watch closely as I started the demo. The old man's eyes went wide, looking like he'd just seen a ghost. I started flexing my skills at the Qizhong point, calling the first move, the Weeping Guanyin. I drove the needle 3/10 of an inch into the Dantian point, using internal energy to rotate it, stimulating the blood vessels like a pro. Second needle, the Buddha's Mercy, pinned 4/10 into the Feng Qi point, using Qi to lock down the life force. The old man was shook, realizing this was the long-lost Ghost Valley 13 needle technique from the Shenong scrolls. He held the silver needle and praised my sharp eye for spotting his hidden talent. He grabbed my shoulders, trembling with excitement, and started interrogating me. This is an insanely powerful technique. It's literally capable of stealing a soul back from the king of hell. A guy who was brain damaged for 5 years like you. How the heck did you learn this? 5 years ago, a legendary young medical genius appeared in the Southwest who could bring back the dead before suddenly vanishing. Wait, are you that guy? I just smirked with my eyes closed. Yep, it's me, thinking to myself that it's wild someone still remembers my training days, when suddenly he drops to his knees, calling me master and thanking me for the guidance. I panicked and tried to haul him back up. Dude, don't do that, get up. He refused to budge, holding his ground. 5 years ago, your medical skills were already way above my level. And now, you're actually teaching me the Ghost Valley 13 needles? I just want to follow you for the rest of my life and keep learning from you. I finally gave in to his persistence. Fine. Whatever. When it's just the two of us, call me whatever you want. But in front of others, just call me Ye Fan. Don't go leaking my real identity. He didn't even hesitate, clearly over the moon with joy. Now he's got a lifetime's worth of medical secrets to study every day. Then he switched topics, asking about my health status. How should I report this to the Yulinglong Society? I suggested he just leak that I'm recovering well, and give it a little time before everything is back to normal. My eyes glinted with a sharp, cold light that should keep the snakes and shadows pacing around, unable to sleep. Over at the Zhang clan mansion, the old patriarch's voice was echoing with pure rage. Bunch of useless, absolute bottom feeders. Old man Zhang was so mad the veins in his forehead were about to pop. All those goons and you couldn't even bag Lei Tianjue, and now Ye Fan might be waking up. The Yi family making a comeback is going to happen any day now. His underling was shaking like a leaf, trying to play it cool. Sir, don't stress too much. Didn't they only say there's hope for recovery? Not that he's definitely cured. Hearing that made him even angrier, and he fired back with a question. If it wasn't certain, would Lei Tianjue be throwing such a massive flashy party at the Yi estate to celebrate his recovery? Haven't you noticed everyone in Yunqing is already lining up to congratulate them? He'd been pacing that room since he was 15, and he was losing his mind. Ever since he was young, Ye Fan had been a top-tier prodigy in the Great Xia. If he actually recovers, everyone is definitely going to jump ship and support the Ye family again. One of his lackeys stepped up and suggested, seems like we need to pull the weeds out by the roots before things get even more complicated. He agreed, barking the order, do it yourself and make sure it's clean. He puts on a sinister face, covering it with one hand while promising he won't let the elders down. Back at the Su household, Ye Fan holds Yi Shui tight, telling her not to worry because he'll be back to his old self in no time. She hugs him back, coddling her little Yi Fan and telling him he has to be a good boy and take his medicine to recover quickly. Watching how close they are, Ling Long is confused, but the pair doesn't even let her finish her sentence. Yi Shui cuts her off, saying, "Sister, don't ask any more questions." Suddenly, he lunges toward her, asking, "Are you jealous and want to join in too?" She blushes, turns her head away, and pushes him off, telling him to go find his precious wife Yi Shui instead. He just laughs mischievously, teasing her for acting all shy. Su Yishui also sneaks a quick, giggly smile to herself. Standing in a corner, Yu Linglong is mortified to realize something is wrong with her body. Why does she react the second he touches her? She's shivering, thinking to herself, there's no way this brat Yi Fan is already healed and is just doing this to troll me, right? That night, when he left the house, Xiahao was already waiting in the car. As he gets in, he orders him to take him to the Yuncheng Bridge. Before heading out, Xiahao warns him that the Wang family is already there, using a ransom deal as a front, but their real plan is to end him. Does he really want to personally send Wang Zhong to reunite with his dead son? He just chuckles, telling him not to overthink things, especially since he has an appointment with someone who put a $2 billion bounty on his head. We're just heading over there to watch the tigers and leopards tear each other apart. At Yuncheng Bridge, Wang Zhong and Xu Xia are hiding in the bushes, ordering their goons to stay sharp and finish off the hostage-taker the moment they appear. Just as he's barking orders, he gets a photo message from his precious son, who looks like he's been absolutely wrecked. In the final text, the kid writes that he probably isn't going to make it. The kidnappers want him dead, so he managed to slip his phone into the kidnapper's pocket. Wang Zhong swears he's going to get revenge for his boy. His face turns ash-gray as he keeps cursing at the scum responsible. He vows that when he catches the guy, he's going to tear him limb from limb. With that, he orders his men to spam his son's phone number. Meanwhile, our boy is holding Wang Chao's phone and keeping it powered off. He sets a timer for 10 minutes, after which the phone will boot up automatically. Looking out the window, he notes that there's one more main character who hasn't hit the stage yet. A moment later, seeing the white car approach, he clenches his teeth and fists, muttering that he never expected the Tu family to be involved, especially after his grandfather treated them like blood relatives. Suddenly, he jumps out to block the car, and Tudong screams for him to stop. The guy steps out, confronts him, and asks if he's got a death wish. Are you blind or just can't walk straight? After the outburst, he realizes the guy is Yi Fan. Our boy scratches his head like a total airhead and calls out, "Brother Dong, I'm lost and I'm starving." He wraps his arms around the guy's sleeve and asks if he can get a ride home. While messing around, he takes the perfect opportunity to plant Wang Chao's phone in the guy's pocket. Tudong is totally clueless and pushes him away, complaining that he's being a massive nuisance. Get lost, he snaps with a cold gaze, telling him to just wait there. Maybe someone will come looking for him before he starves to death. With that, he hops back in his car and speeds off. Watching the taillights fade, Yi Fan clicks his tongue, acting all disappointed. He gave the guy a chance, but he just didn't know how to treasure it. While the guy is driving, Wang Chao's phone in his pocket hits the 10-minute mark and starts ringing. In a different scene, our MC flashes a dangerous grin, saying that since the guy walked straight into his own trap, he can't be blamed for what happens next. At the center of Yuncheng Bridge, Tudong nervously calls out, "Boss, you told me to come, so I'm here. Show yourself." In the shadows, Wang Zhong sees him and is visibly confused, whispering to his subordinates, "Why is this kid here so late at night?" One of the goons replies that it looks like he's here to meet someone. Wang Zhong tells them to ignore him and get back to making calls. He's hell-bent on killing his son's captor today, so he orders his men to keep ringing the boy's phone. They all dial at the same time, but the phone is still set to power off, leaving them with nothing but silence. As Wang Zhong started foaming at the mouth with rage, someone suddenly waved a phone, shouting that the call went through. He immediately barked at them to track the location. Suddenly, a phone ringing inside Shudong's pocket echoed through the room. He was confused, wondering whose phone that could possibly be. Why on earth was it in his pocket? Without hesitation, he picked up the call and roared, "Who the hell is this?" Wang Zhong was shocked that Shudong would actually dare to do this. But not caring about the truth, he ordered his goons to attack. A crowd surrounded Shudong, who looked absolutely clueless, asking what the hell was going on. Wang Zhong didn't waste his breath and ordered them to end Shudong right then and there. Instantly, our boy took a bat to the gut, still cluelessly asking, "Big Boss Wang, what is this all about? Can you at least tell me what kind of misunderstanding this is?" Wang Zhong smashed him again, furious, accusing him of killing his son and calling it a misunderstanding. Shudong tried to deny it, swearing he'd been home all day and hadn't even seen Wang Chao. Grabbing him by the collar, the old man demanded to know why his son's phone was in his possession. Shudong stuttered for ages, unable to come up with a decent excuse, only able to say he found it on himself out of nowhere. Suddenly, he remembered only interacting with Yi Fan on the way, realizing the Giga Chad had definitely framed him. By now, people were already suspecting the Zhao family got wiped off the map. Su Yushui being saved was definitely Yi Fan pulling the strings behind the scenes. Could it be that he's already back to his peak? But back in the present, Shudong took another slap to the face from Wang Zhong. "You absolute moron, do you really think a loser like Yi Fan could frame him with? If you're going to lie, at least try to make it believable." He kept stomping on him, scolding him for lying when he was already at death's door. He decided to send him straight to the afterlife to keep his son company. Shudong begged for his life on the ground, swearing on his soul that he was telling the truth. But the old man's kicks were too brutal, and the poor guy stopped breathing right on the spot. Wang Zhong ordered his men to find his son's body, convinced Shudong had an accomplice. He commanded his subordinates to track every move Xu Jian makes. Not far away, Xiahao used his phone to record the entire scene of Shudong getting beaten to a pulp. Wei Fan asked if he got it all on camera. He replied that it was a total no-brainer. Yi Fan told him to use a burner number to send the footage to Xu Jian so the Wang and Xu families could tear each other apart. Xiahao quickly confirmed everything was handled perfectly. "You can rest easy, boss." Yi Fan pulled out a blue pill, explaining it was a special elixir he crafted himself to help him break through to the martial control realm. The old man took the pill, shaking with excitement, asking if a 50-year-old like him could actually still level up. He couldn't stop thanking Yi Fan for the life-changing gift. He'd spent a fortune hiring alchemists for grade 2 pills, before with 0 results, yet here it was, handed to him like candy.
Yi Fan nonchalantly said it was no big deal.
He left 5 pills, 1 for him and the rest for his own use, promising more in the future. He excitedly replied that he would follow every instruction from young Master Yi. He suddenly remembered Wang Fuqi and asked if he should bring a pill over to him as well. Yi Fan looked away, saying if his hunch was right, there would be another Grandmaster-level expert in Yuncheng by tomorrow, just as Wang Fuqi sat in his own room. He sat before the pill, wondering if the 50,000 he spent on a black market rock containing primal energy was worth it. Was Big Brother really just guessing, or is he a god-tier genius? With that thought, he popped the pill, thinking that leveling up was all that mattered so he could protect his boss better. As the pill hit his stomach, a massive wave of energy surged through his body, making him gasp. The effects are this insane? Wang Fuqi sat cross-legged, feeling the raw power flowing through his veins. He gritted his teeth, sweating bullets as he tried to refine the immense energy. Veins popped all over his body, and the sheer agony from his cells made him scream, "It hurts like hell." In a split second, our boy realized his meridians were basically shredded to bits. Suddenly, a blinding golden aura erupted from his crib, making every martial arts expert in the city stop and wonder, "Wait, another breakthrough?" Yu Linglong peered through the glass, betting it was the Wang estate. Did that musclehead Wang Fuqi actually hit the Grandmaster tier? She figured if he leveled up, he could at least be a decent meat shield to keep the male lead safe. Suddenly, she felt a weird pulsating surge of spiritual energy flowing through her body. Ever since Yi Fan got handsy with her, this mysterious power just showed up out of nowhere. It was literally nourishing her meridians and dantian, leveling up her internal specs. She was panting heavily, sweat pouring down like she just stepped out of a sauna. Feeling the intense heat, she started wondering, could this be his secret move? She'd been stuck at the Grandmaster level forever, but now she could finally shatter that bottleneck and rank up. If that's the case, letting that dummy Ye Fan touch her a little more wouldn't be the end of the world. On the day of the Sucorp press conference, the crowd was already buzzing with drama. Everyone knew the Li family had already swiped the rights to the Su family's medicinal formula. So why the heck were they even hosting this event? Don't tell me they actually cooked up something new? These whispers reached Old Man Li, and he was absolutely fuming, though he couldn't do anything about it. He shot a look of pure disdain, thinking that researching a new formula takes years. The Su family was just flailing around before their inevitable collapse. He turned to the Lu guy and promised to make an example out of them, ensuring no one would dare help the Yi family ever again. Lu Ran gave him a nod, telling him to keep up the good work, and he'd get his cut of the spoils later. Just then, the host announced for the VIPs to take their front row seats. Everyone immediately spotted Xia Hao, the big boss representing the Xia group. And right behind him, none other than the governor of Yun City, Sun Yan. The third person trailing behind them didn't look like an NPC either. This guy had major main character energy. Old Man Li was shook. He could understand Xia Hao showing up. But why was the governor of Yun City tagging along too? And who was that mysterious big shot? Since when did the Su family have this much clout? Were they all here just for the Yi family? Su Yishui stepped onto the stage, looking like a total queen as she introduced herself. She dropped the bomb that the Su Corp had spent ages and a ton of capital researching their latest breakthrough. But then, she threw shade at the Li family for rushing out a copycat product overnight. When she said that, everyone's eyes shifted to the Li family section, making Old Man Li want to explode in silence. The crowd started whispering, and it wasn't exactly favorable for the Li clan. People were saying, wow, Su Yishui really has guts. She was basically calling out the Li family for being shady, bottom-feeding thieves right to their faces. It was common knowledge that the Li family had never invested in skincare. The whole situation reeked of fraud. It was blindingly obvious to everyone that something dirty was going on. Karma is a real thing. No wonder Li Yuyang dropped dead out of nowhere. Old Man Li couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and barked, "What is this supposed to mean?" He claimed the formula was his, and accused her of trying to frame them for stealing his hard-earned research. He smirked, smugly bragging about his patent, and dared Sucorp to show him what new product they actually had. He threatened to sue Sucorp into bankruptcy if they dared release anything similar. Then he offered a generous deal. If she sold Sucorp to him, he'd share the formula with the rest of them. She looked at his overconfident face and realized he was betting on her having zero receipts. With a cool, calm smile, she dropped the hammer. Not necessary, because Sucorp has already perfected the Jueyun Beauty Cream. The projector screen lit up, showcasing the cream's ability to erase blemishes and heal scars instantly. It was leagues ahead of whatever garbage the Li family was peddling. The wealthy socialites in the audience went wild. Is it actually that magical? Curing dark spots and erasing scars? Is this even real life? Lu Ran's face went sour, and he turned to Old Man Li, questioning, "Didn't you say you secured the secret formula from the Su family? How are they dropping something brand new right now?" Old Man Li panicked, swearing it was impossible since he'd dropped millions to buy that info. How could it be a fake? He tried to cope, convincing himself that Su Yishui was just trying to bluff them. Right then, he puffed out his chest and threw out the question, "Is your new formula actually different from the Li family's stuff? And most importantly, has the stuff Su industry rushed out even passed a single safety inspection yet?" The crowd down below started hopping on the hate train, whispering along. "Su Yishui, this sounds way too magical to be true. Are you trying to scam us?" Lei Tianjue stepped up right then, throwing shade. "Do you all really have the audacity to doubt the medical genius of the great master himself?" The crowd started buzzing, and since everyone knows the old man's reputation, they figured if he's backing it, there's no way the quality is trash. He flexed that he stumbled upon the secret recipe by accident and personally restored it to its original legendary state. He swore that after running tests a million times, the cream is a god-tier scar remover that works on the first try with zero side effects. The chatter grew louder. If this stuff really works in minutes, that's absolutely cracked. This legendary doctor has never shilled for any company before, so since he's breaking his own rules, there's no reason to doubt. Let's start buying. Suddenly, a swarm of companies started begging to partner with Su Industry, and Su Yishui was out here tearing up. Doing the mental math, she realized with this cash, Su Industry isn't just surviving. They're about to level up to the big leagues. That Lee guy, however, refused to quit being a total menace. He smirked and asked, "Is it really as magical as you say?" "I don't know. Could you give everyone a little live demo to prove it?" He was low-key plotting, convinced there was no way it could work in a single application. The crowd started whispering again, saying the Lee guy actually made a valid point. If she could prove it right here, it would definitely silence the haters. He crossed his arms, staring her down with a toxic, provocative challenge. "What, are you too scared to do it?" Su Yishui clapped back immediately, asking him exactly what kind of proof he wanted. The old snake curled his lip and demanded she slice her own skin and rub the cream on it to see if it actually heals instantly. Without missing a beat, she grabbed a sharp blade to her wrist, declaring she'd test the product on herself to shut everyone up. Suddenly, Ye Fan jumped in to stop her. "Hey, wifey Yixio, don't you dare do that." He snatched the blade from her hand, telling her she didn't need to be the test dummy. He'd just find someone else to be the guinea pig. Seeing him playing around with the knife like an idiot, she got worried and told him to stop messing around. He hopped off the stage, pointed his finger at Li Zhong, and said, "Hey, you old geezer, since you're doing so much talking, why don't you just volunteer yourself to test the product on my wife's behalf?" Before the guy could even blink, Yi Fan had already swiped him with the blade. Red blood went splattering everywhere. Li Zhong roared in rage. "You absolute moron, what the hell do you think you're doing? Someone help. Hurry up and bandage me." Yi Fan put on his best innocent, "I'm just a silly guy" face. "Didn't you doubt the medicine didn't work, uncle? I'm just helping you verify the results, man." The people watching were sweating buckets. Did he actually just go and slice the guy for real? Is this dude actually a complete moron, or is he just acting like one? The cameraman muttered that whether he's dumb or playing dumb, using Li Zhong as a test subject was actually the perfect move. Our boy then dragged the guy toward the stage like a sack of potatoes, ignoring his whining and pleas to take it easy. "It hurts." Su Yishui looked at her husband with pure satisfaction. Stealing her formula was bad enough, but causing a scene at her press conference deserved this kind of payback. Lei Tianjue had the medicine ready and held up Li Zhong's bloodied arm for the whole world to see. The wound was pretty deep. You could basically see the bone. Now, he was going to apply the medicine to the guy. Su Minghao looked over at Su Honghai and asked nervously, "Is this stuff really going to work?" He crossed his arms and told him to just trust Su Yishui and the Ye family legacy, while secretly praying, "God, please let this actually work." The entire future of the Su family was riding on this moment. Li Zhong sneered at the legendary doctor. "You think a tiny bit of paste can fix a wound like this? Keep dreaming, pal." But then a miracle happened. The moment the ointment touched the skin, a cooling sensation spread through the arm, and the wound started knitting itself back together. Through the live stream, people saw Li Zhong moving his hand like normal, and everyone started asking, "Is this some kind of special effect? Do live streams even have filters like this nowadays?" Even Li Zhong, the guy getting patched up, couldn't hide the absolute shock on his face. Is this miracle drug actually that broken? The guy looked wicked, thinking he could save his own skin by destroying the evidence. But before Li Zhongding could even self-destruct his reputation, Wang Fuqi grabbed his wrist in a flash. He leaned into the guy's ear, flashing a totally harmless, innocent grin. "Hey, Uncle Li, you feeling a bit itchy or something? Let me give you a hand and scratch that for you." Trembling, he stammered that it wasn't necessary. Right on cue, the drug did its thing, sinking into every cell and healing the wound without leaving a single scar. Lei Tianjue held up Li Zhong's arm for the whole crowd to see, proving the product actually works. The audience collectively lost their minds, staring in pure shock. The injury is literally gone, and his skin actually looks better than it did before. Sweating buckets, Li Zhong stared at his own arm and denied it. "This is absolutely impossible. You guys definitely used some kind of black magic." With the drug's god-tier performance confirmed, the shareholders below started throwing their money at the table. Tianhong Group just dropped 1 billion right off the bat. Hope Group threw in 800 million, and Haiyu Group matched the 1 billion, all promising to open up their distribution channels for the Su family. Li Zhong tried to be the party pooper one last time. Don't let the hype cloud your judgment and make a huge mistake, everyone. You all know perfectly well how much debt the Su family is drowning in. Su Corp doesn't have the cash flow to handle an order of this scale. Some people in the crowd started whispering. That's a massive amount of cash for Su Corp, and since they're linked to the Yi family, This is basically a high-risk investment. Suddenly, a guy stood up on stage and dropped the mic. With Mr. Lei backing the quality, what the hell are you all afraid of? Any little debt Sucorp has can easily be covered by his Guo family teaming up with the Xia family. Both the Xia and Guo families are going all in to open their distribution networks for Sucorp. And if anyone tries to bully the Su family, I'm personally breaking their legs. The guy talking all that smack was Guo Li Fan's best bro. Our boy realized it was his ride or die and was totally shook. Like, when did he even get back here? Most of the crowd recognized the Guo heir from the capital. Now, another major powerhouse was standing behind the Su family. Ignoring the gossip, he ran up to Ye Fan to explain. My old man dragged me overseas for school. I couldn't reach anyone, my bad for showing up late. Wang Fuqi spoke for our boy and started roasting him. Why couldn't you have shown up sooner? Do you have any idea how much my brother has struggled these past few years? Ye Fan frowned. He knew Guo Li wouldn't betray him, but this wasn't the right place to talk. Their eyes locked, and Guo Li leaned in close to whisper a question. Big bro, are you acting dumb on purpose? Ye Fan's eyes flashed with a thought. He knew Guo Li was smart and loyal to the core. He needed a right-hand man, so he gave a slight smirk, and Guo Li immediately got the message and stopped calling him out in front of everyone. Guo Li grabbed the mic and started hyping everyone up to invest right now. First come, first served. If you miss this golden opportunity today, don't come crying when it's gone. The people at the press conference started rushing forward, dying to get a piece of the action. Ye Fan watched him, thinking to himself that this kid was definitely sharp. Guo Li then turned his sights on Li Zhenggong and dropped the hammer. Why are you still standing there? Waiting for the New Year celebrations or what? Your son is dead. Shouldn't you be at home mourning instead of staying here to keep embarrassing yourself? Li Zhong was so mad his veins were popping, and he fired back with a threat. Don't think just because you're from the Guo family that I'm actually scared of you. His face was pure dangerous intent. He hopped off the stage and signaled his goons to move in. A whole squad of guys in shades materialized out of nowhere. They had their bats ready, looking like they were dead set on throwing hands with anyone who stood by the Li family. Standing center stage, he declared that he wanted to see who actually had the guts to sign a contract with the Su family today. Sha Hao roared. What exactly do you think you're doing? Can't handle the heat in the business world, so you're resorting to these pathetic, shady tactics. With his arms crossed over his chest, he explained the situation with an air of complete indifference. This is a little reminder from the higher-ups to the Su family for getting way too cozy with the Yi family. He held up 2 fingers, representing the 2 choices he was offering them today. First, keep siding with the Ye family, and watch as the Su family meets its inevitable end. Second, hand over Yi Fan and agree to merge with the Li group, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be allowed to cling to life by a thread. The acquisition price he offered was a measly 50,000 yuan. Su Minghao was so furious he shouted, "You think you can buy the entire Su Corporation for 50,000? Just who exactly do you think you're looking down on?" Su Yishui hurriedly stepped in front of Ye Fan, declaring that if they wanted to touch him, they'd have to step over her dead body first. Consumed by rage, he raised his hand to physically assault her, likely thinking she was still the pampered princess she used to be. But before he could even graze a strand of her hair, our boy slammed a heavy chair right into his face, sending him vomiting blood as he barked, "How dare you lay a finger on my wife? You trash!" As he writhed in pain, clutching his face, he cursed the idiots he brought with him for just standing there like NPCs and screamed, "What are you idiots waiting for? Grab everyone from the Su family!" Wang Fuqiang stepped up, cracking his knuckles with a sound like gunfire, his aura radiating intense pressure. Anyone who practices internal energy would immediately recognize the aura of a grandmaster. No one expected the kid to have already broken through to that level. Since when did this even happen? The crowd started whispering, is being a genius actually contagious now? Yi Fan was already ranked as a grandmaster at 15, and now his friend is one too? This is just way too overpowered. Li Zhong furrowed his brows, thinking to himself, so what if they're grandmasters? What can they actually do? He waited for a chance to snatch Yi Fan or Su Yishui, figuring he could at least grab a few big-name bosses as hostages to see how Wang Fuqiang would react. He immediately dropped the fake nice guy routine, pointing a finger and warning, "Young Master Wang, you'd best stay out of the blood feud between the Li and Su families. You have no idea what forces are backing me, and you won't be able to handle the consequences." But for the kid, since Su Yishui is his sister-in-law, that makes the Su family's business his own business. Pressing his fist right up to the guy's face, he warned him, "If you and your goons don't get lost right now, don't ask why the sea is salty." Pushing him back, Guo Li told him to pipe down, saying he'd done enough posturing and it was finally his turn to shine. Guo Li stepped forward without a word and unleashed a punch that sent the gang leader and his minions flying, their screams echoing as he stood there with his fist still radiating raw power. He gave a cold apology. "My bad, I'm also a grandmaster. Whoever isn't convinced can come try and catch these hands." The NPCs in the crowd had their eyes popping out of their skulls, screaming, "Oh my god, another Grandmaster!" Everyone standing next to Yi Fan is officially a Grandmaster. Fear was etched all over the villain's face. Li Zhong thought to himself, I could handle one Grandmaster by exploiting a gap, but two? Any strategy or swarm tactics are just a total joke now. Staying here any longer is just asking to die for nothing. At that exact moment, Yu Linglong marched in with her military unit, barking out orders. Drop your weapons. I might spare your lives if you cooperate. I've been waiting a long time to put you losers in your place. Instantly, two soldiers in uniform subdued the gang leader, pressing a blade against his throat so he wouldn't dare move an inch. The rest of the thugs quickly surrendered their weapons. The situation was locked down in seconds, and all of Li Zhong's men were rounded up and tied together by the military. The onlookers finally let out a sigh of relief, the scene being way too surreal. Half of them thought they were going to lose their lives there today. Li Zhong was quickly dragged by the soldiers and tossed right in front of Xiahao. He suggested they find a quiet place to have a nice little chat. With a face as pale as a ghost, he understood the hidden meaning behind those words and shrieked, "Don't do this! Please!" An hour later, in a high-end villa, Li Zhong was tied to a chair sitting directly in front of Yu Fan. He was still stubbornly blustering, "What you're doing is illegal. I demand my human rights." He was still mid-rant when the protagonist calmly smashed a chair into his head, causing him to cough up blood. Yi Fan played dumb, acting like he didn't know anything while scolding him for bullying his wife in public, totally deserving of a beatdown. Guo Li spun a sharp knife between his fingers, pressing it to the guy's face to squeeze a confession out of him. "Do you want to spill the beans yourself, or should I help you understand the situation a little better?" His words matched his actions as he sliced right through the guy's suit, tearing through the fabric on his chest. The glint of the blade left a clean tear, exposing the skin underneath. Li Zhong's eyes widened in sheer terror, his mouth letting out a blood-curdling scream, while Guo Li stared him down with the cold, judging gaze of a king of the underworld. These guys were all in on it together, nearly ruining your big brother's entire family. "If you don't start talking now, don't blame me for not holding back." The guy was shaking in his boots, begging for his life and promising to spill every single secret he knew. The whole operation was the brainchild of Liu Ran, the head of the Liu family in the provincial capital. He was just a puppet following orders. They're still planning to block old Lei from treating Yi Fan, and the higher-ups are sending in a big shot to verify if he's actually regained his sanity. To make sure the job gets done, they're sending in even more elite hitters. Guo Li lost his patience, pressed the blade right against the guy's wound, and growled for him to provide some actual useful intel. The guy was wincing in agony and spilled the beans faster than a broken faucet. The higher-ups have linked up with Liu Ran and two others. One is Lady Lang from the military, and the other is young Master Chu from the capital. Besides taking out Yi Fan, they've been ordered to hunt down the thing that can rapidly boost combat power. Wei Fan was listening from the shadows, wondering to himself what on earth that item could be. He narrowed his eyes, realizing he needed to come up with a rock-solid plan immediately. Since they've crawled their way here, they might as well kiss their chances of going home goodbye. Meanwhile, at the Northwest Villa, watching on a 98-inch Sony TV, Elder Zhang roared in fury. "Is this the pathetic result your people spent so much effort setting up? Wipe out the Li Corporation immediately so the Su family can take the spotlight." The lackey bowed his head in a cold sweat, begging the old man to calm down. He never expected Yi Fan's side to have such a tight-knit strategy. With a sinister look on his face, he questioned, "If this keeps up, how will outsiders view us? They literally held a press conference to go against us and still somehow came out on top." He decided he'd better head to Yuncheng himself to finish Yi Fan off once and for all and clear the path. That night at the Su estate, Su Yishui happily jumped into his arms, thanking him for everything. If it weren't for him, she never would have secured this much support. He acted the fool, telling her that since she's his wife, he'll always protect her and crush all the bad guys. Yu Linglong watched them, struggling to accept that a dummy like him could actually rally so many talented people to his side. But regardless, she's dead set on sticking by his side. Later, at the Su family celebration, Su Yishui raised her glass, politely thanking everyone for their support throughout the day. Suddenly, the judicial department stormed in with an emergency arrest warrant, accusing them of illegal fundraising and peddling fake medicine, freezing their accounts on the spot. Su Yishui tried to explain, "There's obviously a misunderstanding here. This is just a deposit for our new product. How could that possibly be illegal fundraising?" The officer just bowed, claiming he was only following orders and demanded the core staff follow him for questioning. Yu Linglong stepped up with her bodyguards and snapped, daring to make illegal arrests in broad daylight. "I'm here. Let's see who's got the guts to try something." The officer bowed respectfully, hoping Miss Yu wouldn't make things difficult for them. She let out a cold laugh, asking if it was her making things difficult or if they were deliberately targeting Yishui. If Yishui gets dragged away now, all the effort they put in over the last few days will go down the drain. Wei Fan watched the drama unfold, calculating his next move. He had 1,000 ways to handle this, but it was still way too early to reveal his true colors. What a headache. Just then, a convoy of military vehicles pulled up, and Major Guofei led his men in, asking what all the chaos was about. What's going on here? Wei Fan played the idiot, running forward and pointing at the judicial department guys, accusing them. There are bad guys here trying to arrest my wife. His eyes turned sharp as he recognized the badge on the major's uniform, reminding himself. The higher-ups ordered that no matter what form the Heavenly King appears in, his orders must be followed at all costs. He immediately ordered his men to detain the old official. Following orders, Guofei's men rushed in and quickly took control of the situation. The official panicked, asking if the major even knew what he was doing. The major announced loudly that the Su Corporation is the official medicine supplier for the military. Anyone who dares to touch them is declaring war on him. Immediately after, Guofei dragged the troublemakers away. Wei Fan watched them leave, feeling uneasy. He knew that even if he solved this mess, another one would definitely pop up soon. A dark look crossed his face as he decided it was finally time to use that trump card. Wei Fan slipped into a private room, pulled out his phone, and made the call. As soon as the call connected, our boy dropped a cryptic code that only they would understand. The wind rises in the valley. The night lasts for an eternity. The middle-aged man on the other end responded. The master of the Sea Pavilion greets you. This old servant has been waiting for over 20 years. Finally, the day the TNG Pavilion rises again has arrived. Our boy replied firmly, correct, but it's not convenient to reveal my location right now. Unless it's something major, don't try to contact me. To give you the tea on this guy, he's the CEO of the Juzhou Group and the Grand Manager of the TNG Pavilion. Right then, our boy demanded, can you unfreeze the Su family bank account in Yuncheng and squash the investigation within 10 minutes? The CEO didn't even blink, telling him he could rest easy. He promised that he would pull out all the stops to get it done. The moment he hung up, he stormed into his office. He gave the order to mobilize everyone for a 3S-level mission targeting the Su family group in Yuncheng. Over at the office of Qian Tao, the manager of the American bank in Yuncheng, he was getting grilled by his superiors, who demanded to know why he froze the Su family's account. He panicked and tried to play the victim, blaming the Li family for the directive. The voice on the other end exploded in rage. The Li family? Who do you think you're talking to? The Su family are partners of the Xuanwu war zone. The people who arrested them have already been dragged away. Are you trying to commit suicide? He stammered in pure terror, unable to speak, and frantically promised to unfreeze the account immediately. After hanging up, he felt like he needed to explain himself to the Li family, or he'd be caught in this absolute dumpster fire. Just as he was about to call the Li family big shots, a breaking news notification popped up. The Li family leader in the city had just been arrested for serious financial crimes. When Qian Tao saw the headline, he went pale and dropped his phone like his world was literally collapsing. It's over. His career and his entire life are officially finished. Meanwhile, Lei Tianjie was clutching his phone, thinking that unblocking the Su family's account was going to take some serious legwork. He was planning to pool money with some friends to help the Su family survive this nightmare. Just then, an underling ran in. The Su family bank account is suddenly back to normal. The bank even called back to apologize, claiming it was just a massive technical error on their part. Su Yishui was completely shook, since when do banks make errors like that? Didn't the economic police literally just come here to make things crystal clear? She grabbed Yuling Long's arm and asked, Sis, was this you? Did you pull some strings for me? Yuling Long shook her head. Definitely not me. I'm still on the phone with my contacts. It's impossible to get results that fast. She was dying to know, just who on earth is the mystery benefactor helping her out? At that moment, Xiahao couldn't help but stare at Yi Fan's smug smile, thinking, this was way too fast. It has to be Yi Fan's doing. Just what kind of insane connections does he have to resolve this whole disaster in under 10 minutes? Suddenly, Wang Fugui held up his phone and shouted, guys, get over here and check the newsfeed. The screen was blowing up with top-tier drama, with the top 3 stories being the Li family leader under investigation for tax evasion. The head of the Yuncheng Commerce Department is being probed for massive corruption, and the American bank manager is under investigation for major financial crimes. Su Yishui muttered, commerce, taxes, and the bank. Isn't this basically an entire syndicate getting taken down at once? And it had to happen at the most random time possible. Her phone started blowing up, and she picked it up immediately. The guy on the other end introduced himself as Chen Wei, the director of a major American bank. He was practically groveling, promising to hold a press conference to clear Su's name and fix her reputation. She asked if that wouldn't be way too much trouble for him. He insisted it was no sweat at all, acting like it was his duty to clean up this mess. Plus, he dropped a bomb. Bong Hai, the big boss of the Juzhou Group, is personally flying into Yun City in 2 days just to visit her. She started overthinking it. Could this actually be because of him? She's smart enough to know that Bong Hai is an absolute titan in the business world. His Zhuzhou group basically controls 13 provinces in the southwest and holds massive influence over the entire nation. She pondered, thinking her family was just mid-tier, and even elites like Linglong and Old Lei couldn't just casually invite a guy like that, so why would he want to see her? Her gaze instinctively drifted over to our boy, a question hanging heavy in the air. Could it actually be because of him? Is he here to help her out, just to pay back a favor to him? Suddenly, she walked up to him, expressing how incredibly grateful she was to have him by her side. He just played the simple guy card, saying as long as his lovely wife is happy, he's happy. She dove straight into his arms, hugging him tight and whispering her thanks. Meanwhile, at a villa in the northwest, Su Feng, the captain of Elder Zhang's guard, was grinding his teeth in pure rage at his useless subordinates. Apparently, everyone they had in Yun City got wiped out by the military. His underling was on his knees, begging for his life, swearing there was literally nothing they could do. Everyone involved in the operation had already been nabbed. He couldn't wrap his head around the fact that this was actually happening. How is it possible that all these high-profile players got taken down in just one night? The subordinate panicked, explaining it wasn't their fault, but the Zhuozhou group had stepped in. Su Feng's lip curled. That old geezer Bang Hai actually dared to stick his nose in their business? Fine, let's play it that way. His face darkened into a death glare, fueled by pure, malicious intent. Since Bang Hai wants to ruin his plans, he'll just have to personally wipe out both the old man and Yi Fan. Just as he was about to storm off, someone stopped him. Hold your horses. Haven't you been with me for years? Why are you still so impulsive? Elder Zhang pointed out that Su Feng was only at the Grand Master level, and Bang Hai was easily his match. Plus, the people backing Bang Hai aren't exactly nobodies. Su Feng asked who exactly was backing that old man anyway. He was about to spill the beans about his own backer, but the elder shut him down immediately before he could say something stupid. The elder frowned and started giving orders. We need to investigate Bang Hai's real strength first. You can go to Yun City, but do not directly clash with Bang Hai's people yet. Su Feng bowed his head and said he understood the assignment. Elder Zhang wore a sinister, twisted look as he watched him leave, fully convinced that Bang Hai's empire was destined to crumble soon.